Chapter 1466. The king was immortal, let alone heaven monarchs and martial emperors. How did the rank 9 skeleton appear? Naturally, it was killed. If the celestial sect could obtain the rank 9 skeleton, it meant that they had the ability to kill martial emperors. This was the most terrifying point. After chatting with his wife affectionately for a while, Knight Sorrow decided to set off. He wanted to strike while the iron was hot and trick the Devil Blood Domain's allied army. Remember, you are everything to the family and also everything to me. Nothing can happen to you. If you can't handle it, just run. I'll say it again. As long as we are alive, losing doesn't mean losing. Datura reminded Knight Sorrow. I know. You are everything to me. I miss the family and love each and every one of you. Knight Sorrow stretched out his arms and hugged Datura. After that, Knight Sorrow left the tent. His doppelganger and his original body left together. The two of them were very close to each other and were separated by a spatial barrier. One was in the real world, while the other was flying in the spatial turbulence. Knight Sorrow flew toward the stronghold where he caught the Devil Blood Evil insects last time. There were sporadic Devil Blood Evil insects along the way. Knight Sorrow also started to catch them. Every time he caught one, there would be one less insect. Knight Sorrow naturally couldn't hide what he was doing. He was already discovered by the patrolling Evil Soldier Legion and was alerted. It didn't matter. Knight Sorrow wasn't afraid of being discovered. He caught the Devil Blood Evil insects while flying. If anyone blocked his way, he would kill them directly. His style of doing things was extremely domineering. Knight Sorrow shook off the scouts who were chasing him and flew toward the stronghold where the Devil Blood Evil insects were. The closer he got to the stronghold, the more Devil Blood Evil insects there were. However, before Knight Sorrow could get close, the evil soldier came out. He naturally couldn't let Knight Sorrow get close to the stronghold. That was the foundation of their attack. He had already ordered the Devil Blood Evil insects to quickly reproduce. If the stronghold was damaged, it would delay this realm war and cause it to be unable to proceed smoothly. Both Evil Soldier and his doppelganger appeared and charged towards Knight Sorrow's doppelganger. Knight Sorrow's doppelganger changed direction and started to fly at the same speed as the Evil Soldier. Because he was too fast, the Evil Soldier should not chase after him. If he was too slow, he would be in danger. He wanted to lure the Evil Soldier away from this area. As Xiaofan flew, Knight Sorrow caught a few Demon Bloodline Evil insects. Every time he caught one, the other party would have one fewer. Evil Soldier, swear that I will kill you. Evil Soldier roared. In the past realm wars, demonic blood chi was practically a forbidden zone for opponents. Their strength would be suppressed, and those who dared to enter would die. But Knight Sorrow's fighting spirit could solve this problem. Without being suppressed, his strength would remain the same as before. Stop shouting. It's meaningless. Knight Sorrow continued to fly and capture the Devil Blood Evil insects. However, he also discovered a problem. The difference between the Dragon Cauldron and the Haotian Divine Pagoda was truly huge. The Haotian Divine Pagoda could easily suppress the Demon Bloodline Evil insects, but the Dragon Cauldron could not. Even the weapon spirit of the Dragon Cauldron could not appear. The Demon Bloodline Evil insects would devour the weapon spirit's energy. Currently, Xiaofan was relying on Knight Sorrow's own energy to suppress them. Knight Sorrow and Evil Soldier, one flying and the other chasing, continued in the demonic blood chi. At this moment, Knight Sorrow's original body confirmed that Evil Soldier had left the stronghold's area through his doppelganger's location. His soul power erupted and began to search. He wanted to find the place with the most Demon Bloodline Evil insects and launch a ruthless attack. After searching, Knight Sorrow was stunned for a moment. He found the nest of the Demon Bloodline Evil insects. He also found the mother insect of the Demon Bloodline Evil insects. The mother insect of the Demon Bloodline Evil insects was bigger in size. Its body was round, and its claws and short wings were spread out like a dandelion. At this moment, it was reproducing with a male Demon Bloodline Evil insect. Its mouth was dripping with saliva which made people feel disgusted. In addition, there was a line of male Demon Bloodline Evil insects that were waiting to reproduce with it. Knight Sorrow was a little curious as to why the mother insect of the Demon Bloodline Evil insects would behave like this. He did not know that the Demon Bloodline Evil insects were called dandelions by Evil Soldier and the others. It was a special existence among the demon bloodline evil insects as it did not have any males. The mother insect of the demon bloodline evil insect had to reproduce countless times before it could give birth to a descendant with the same genes. In other words, it only had the mother but not the father because there were too many fathers. There were tens of thousands of fathers. The mother insect of the demon bloodline evil insects was very powerful. Ordinary demon bloodline evil insects were at the void inquiry stage while the high-level ones were at the venerable realm. However, this demon bloodline evil insect of the demon bloodline evil dandelion evil insect had the cultivation base of a saint king. Kill. This mother insect must not be left alive. Night Sorrow appeared and directly executed the void extreme kill while the heaven monarchs were not alert. The reincarnation sword pierced through the mother insect's back. Then, a halo burst out and directly annihilated the insect. Not even its bones were left. Then, the towering Haotian divine pagoda opened its doors. An energy whirlpool appeared and sucked in all the demon bloodline evil insects in this stronghold. After capturing the demon bloodline evil insects, Night Sorrow did not fight with the Heaven Monarch realm sovereigns in the evil soldier army. He protected himself with the will of time and space, and the slicer flew rapidly. Head of the P1 version today's harvest was great enough. There was no need to continue fighting. Night Sorrow had already noticed that the evil soldier army was no longer chasing after his clones and was returning to help him. They were going to stop him. After shaking off the pursuers, Night Sorrow tore the space apart and entered the spatial turbulence. In such a situation, it was not easy for the other party to detect or stop him. It was not that Night Sorrow was afraid. It was that there were too many variables when fighting in the demon blood chi. Who knew what trump cards the other party had? Some unnecessary risks had to be avoided. When the evil soldier army returned to the stronghold, he saw that the demon bloodline evil insect's nest was destroyed and the mother insect was killed. Only scattered demon bloodline evil insects were left. Ah! 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 The evil soldier army roared angrily. He was extremely angry now. He had never suffered such a loss in countless years. There were only 2 demon bloodline evil insect colonies in the entire demon blood domain. More than half of the dandelion colony had been destroyed. If the remaining larvae did not have the potential to become the mother insect, then this colony would be completely destroyed. After exiting the demon blood chi region, Night Sorrow went to the Alliance army camp. He waved his arm and released all the demon bloodline evil insects from the dragon cauldron. Under everyone's shocked eyes, the dragon cauldron flew up and smashed down several times, killing all the demon bloodline evil insects trapped by the energy. The origin energy that was absorbed appeared and returned to heaven and earth. You caught so many again? Misty Rain looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. Mistress, isn't this disciple's result not bad? That's not all. I also killed a mother insect. It will take some time for the demon bloodline evil insects to recover. It will be impossible for them to spread. Night Sorrow said with a smile. He was in a good mood at this moment. It's not just not bad. It's beautiful. Lord Precious Fragrance also smiled. Every time Night Sorrow made a move, he would solve a big problem. Next, the demon blood chi retreated, and the area it could cover became smaller. The situation stabilized. Night Sorrow also planned to study the rank 9 skeleton. It was a threat from the celestial sect. Only by understanding the enemy could he take precautions. The rank 9 skeleton's skull originally had an array, but it had been destroyed by Night Sorrow. Looking at the rank 9 skeleton, Night Sorrow had a different feeling in his heart. Speak. The 4th update has been completed. Thank you brothers and sisters for your support. Chapter 1467. Suppressing and Valiant. This was what Night Sorrow felt. What level was a rank 9 Imperial Realm cultivator? He was a cultivator who stood at the peak. In this world where the strong were respected, on the path of cultivation, even a Lord of Heaven was nothing in front of an Imperial Realm cultivator. Night Sorrow's situation was special. Take the first battle of the Realm War as an example. Tang Jianfeng, Lord of Heaven Shenhu, and the Sea King Prefecture's master fought Xie Bing, a cultivator who was half a step away from the Imperial Realm. In the end, the Sea King Prefecture's master and his clone were killed. From this point of analysis, one could see how terrifying a real Imperial Realm cultivator was. He was a real giant. However, there was no record of rank 9 in the chaotic realm formed by the Shenwu Great World, the Reincarnation Great World, and the Black-Yellow Great World. Therefore, there were some blind spots. Because he didn't understand, Knight Sorrow had gone to study this rank 9 skeleton. When he had just started cultivating in the 9 regions world, Knight Sorrow thought that he could dominate the overall situation after becoming a venerable. Later on, he found that it was not enough. When he thought that becoming a saint was enough, it was still not enough. Along the way, Knight Sorrow found that as his level increased, the world he faced was different. His strength was still not enough. Knight Sorrow probed with his soul power and was shocked to take a step back. The energy contained in the skeleton was extremely terrifying. It also had the power of Sure. Knight Sorrow's soul power was shocked as soon as it went in. The others shook their heads and exhaled. Knight Sorrow knew that this was the power of a rank 9 skeleton. His clone had used all his strength to pierce the air, but it could only pierce half a foot into the skeleton. It was obvious that the energy contained in the skeleton was very strong. The soul was destroyed, but the genuine chi energy in the skeleton was still flowing. This was a rank 9 skeleton. Knight Sorrow felt that he had a training partner. If the devil blood chi could not continue to temper his fighting spirit, he could also stimulate and strengthen his fighting spirit cultivation by fighting with the rank 9 skeleton. After resting for 2 days, Knight Sorrow went to see Tang Jianfeng. "Come, have a seat. You've been busy cultivating all this time, so you didn't have time to come over." Tang Jianfeng greeted him. At the same time, he personally made tea. "City Lord Tang is too polite." Knight Sorrow nodded and sat down. "Knight Sorrow, you're so domineering. I've seen many ruthless people over the years, but you're the only one as ruthless as you," Tang Yi, who was in her father's camp, said. "Haha, senior sister Tang, you flatter me." Knight Sorrow shook his head. "It's not Mao Zan. You're the one who changed the situation. If you hadn't appeared out of nowhere, we wouldn't have been able to win this realm war no matter how hard we tried. Furthermore, you've resolved the crisis for every major world group," Tang Jianfeng said. That was the truth. Bai Taisong of the Shenwu Great World was unstoppable when Knight Sorrow hadn't taken action. He had even killed other Lords of Heaven. It was Knight Sorrow who had defeated him and forced him to retreat, resolving the crisis. The crisis of the Samsara Great World was the Celestial Sect. No one could resist the rank 9 skeleton of the Celestial Sect. If it hadn't been resolved, the Samsara Great World's chi of origin would have been plundered, and the world would have been destroyed. However, Knight Sorrow had also resolved this problem. The crisis of the Black-Yellow Great World had not been resolved yet. However, this crisis had been contained. Of course, Knight Sorrow was the most indispensable link. After drinking tea, Knight Sorrow told Tang Jianfeng the purpose of his visit. He wanted to know how many demonic blood insects were needed. If there weren't many, he would keep some and kill the rest. He still had many demonic blood insects in his Haotian godly pagoda. Tang Jianfeng meant to keep some for research and kill the rest. He didn't want to trouble Knight Sorrow, so he took out his space treasure and transferred the demonic blood insects to it. Knight Sorrow reminded Tang Jianfeng that the demonic blood insects devoured spiritual qi. He also had to pay attention to the storage of his space treasure. However, it was easy for Tang Jianfeng to solve this problem. He was using a space treasure without a device spirit. The demonic blood insects couldn't do anything to him. After solving the problem of the demonic blood insects, Knight Sorrow returned to his tent. Datura looked at Knight Sorrow and asked, "Have you told them?" "Yes, I've told them to let City Lord Tang and the others deal with it. What I need to do is to contend with the strongest person on the other side," Knight Sorrow said. "Knight Sorrow, the problem isn't too serious right now. Don't feel too much pressure. You've already done well," said Datura. "Luo, the current situation is unstable, and there are other unstable factors. None of our 3 great world groups have ever produced a single emperor, but the other side has. That fellow who calls himself Xie Bing is only a commander of a legion, but he's already very close to being a half-step emperor. Then what about their leader?" Knight Sorrow looked at Datura. Datura looked at Knight Sorrow. Because Knight Sorrow and the others were present, she hadn't thought too much about it. Now that she heard Knight Sorrow's words, she was stunned. Xie Bing was the commander of the legion. The chief of the Devil Blood region must be stronger than him. Otherwise, how could he suppress Xie Bing? Who could suppress a half-step Monarch Realm expert? He must be a rank 9 Monarch Realm expert. Then what should we do? If the other side is really at the Emperor realm, how can we resist them? Dachura looked at Knight Sorrow in surprise. It's not impossible. I have the Haotian Godly Pagoda to help me with my cultivation. Because the Haotian Godly Pagoda can seize the fortune of heaven and earth, I don't have any bottlenecks. I need to complete my cultivation and enter the Lord of Heaven realm, Knight Sorrow said. That's one way. The other is your Merit Sage body. When can you enter the Merit Sage level? This is also very important. I haven't seen the Merit Sage, but according to the records, the Merit Sage's words are law. He carries the rules and the momentum of heaven and earth. Maybe he can contend with a cultivator at the Emperor realm, Dachura said. Yi Shang nodded. Currently, he only lacked the merit of the Xuanhuan Great World. Normally, he would have already obtained it. However, the Xuanhuan Great World's origin was in danger and would not appear. Thus, he would not receive any merit, nor would he be recognized by the heavenly Tao. After talking with Dachura, Knight Sorrow went into the Haotian Godly Pagoda to cultivate. His doppelganger continued to cultivate the fighting spirit. Knight Sorrow had his own things to do. The battle and tactical arrangements were discussed by the other Lords of Heaven. After Tang Jianfeng, Qing Emperor, Lord of Heaven Shenhu, and the others discussed, they decided to shrink the encirclement and tighten the encirclement. The loss of the devil blood evil insects had greatly reduced the range of the devil blood qi. Now, it only covered an area of 10,000 miles. The Alliance army could encircle and suppress it. As for the other side coming out to fight, it was not a big problem. Knight Sorrow, who had cultivated the fighting spirit, could resist the evil soldiers. As for the other army commanders, the Alliance army could also contend with them and not be at a disadvantage. The situation was in a stalemate because neither side was responsible for the other. The army led by the evil soldiers could not continue to attack the territory of the Black-Yellow Great World. At the same time, the Black-Yellow Great World was still shrouded by the remaining Devil Blood Qi. They could not do anything to the army of the Devil Blood territory. Chapter 1468. Dachura was also cultivating intensely. Her original body was refining and fusing with everything that Dachura Chinensis had left behind. This required time, a large amount of time, as it involved her origin. It wasn't something that could be easily solved. Dachura's clone was the same as Knight Sorrow. He was also comprehending aura. Cultivating aura wasn't that easy. Many heaven monarchs couldn't even take this step. In addition, there was a big gap between the killing intent aura and Knight Sorrow's battle intent aura. After stabilizing for more than a year, Knight Sorrow's will of nothingness advanced again, reaching 98%. At the same time, his will of spacetime also reached the middle-grade monarch level. The advancement of his will of spacetime was the advancement of Knight Sorrow's body and talent bloodline. His body's strength also increased to the middle-grade monarch level. Knight Sorrow's original body and Dachura's original body would occasionally exchange cultivation insights in the Haotian Godly Pagoda. 50 years of cultivation in the Haotian Godly Pagoda was equivalent to 1 year in the outside world. The situation didn't change much. The area covered by the demonic blood aura was getting smaller and smaller. The Shenhuang Ocean World's Alliance army had surrounded this area tightly. Knight Sorrow, your original body should return to our 9 regions world. The Haotian Godly Pagoda's effects are so strong. You should let father, mother, and sisters in to cultivate, Dachura said. Not for now. Chu Yu, 9th senior sister, 6th senior sister, father, and mother are lacking realms. They need to stabilize their realms. In the past few years, no one lacked cultivation resources, which caused the situation of high cultivation but unstable realms. They need to stabilize their realms, Knight Sorrow said. He was clear about his family's situation. You're right. Your cultivation is increasing quickly, but your realms are stable. You've been through too many battles. They can't do it. Dachura nodded. My parents and Chu Yu are less than 200 years old. They still have 10,000 years. If they can't do it in 10,000 years, I'll do everything I can to push them up. The only one who's lacking is Father Gu. Knight Sorrow sighed. In recent years, Father Gu's cultivation had increased rapidly. He was already at the peak of supremacy. However, Knight Sorrow knew that it was all due to the accumulation of resources. In terms of talent, he wasn't enough. It was mainly because he started late and missed the best time to build his foundation. Everyone has their own destiny. 10,000 years is not a long time for a cultivator, but it is enough for many things to change. In the past countless years, I have quietly stayed in the dark abyss. Sometimes, I even slept for 1,000 years. But in the past few years you know how much has changed. I have a husband and a son. Mandela's face was full of happiness. Night sorrows. And night datura. Yi Shang still lacked 2 points of willpower, so he continued his seclusion. Because the devil blood chi had shrunk, Night Sorrow couldn't use the devil blood chi to cultivate his fighting spirit. He used the pressure of the rank 9 skeleton to cultivate. Night Sorrow placed the 8 dragon cauldron in front of the tent. Then, he informed Qing Emperor and the others that he was going to cultivate. If there was anything, he could just shout outside the 8 dragon cauldron. After that, Night Sorrow entered the 8 dragon cauldron and constantly used his energy to stimulate the rank 9 skeleton. He used the momentum of heaven and earth released by the rank 9 skeleton to comprehend it. Night Sorrow was puzzled about how his doppelganger could comprehend and cultivate this fighting spirit. Normally, his doppelganger couldn't do it. However, Night Sorrow's doppelganger could. After thinking about it, Night Sorrow knew that this was because his soul had been baptized by the Yellow Springs River and had undergone some changes. It was a good thing that he could comprehend it. Lord Shen Hu and the others were very envious of Night Sorrow. They couldn't cultivate even if they wanted to. Sometimes they could only study absolute arts in seclusion. Update. Quick. On 0Y2. The 9 regions world was constantly expanding and advancing towards a great world. This was because the core of the sovereign origin could develop into a great world. There were some problems along the way. The great world had a group of worlds. Under the influence of the sovereign law, some spatial worlds would appear around it. After the 9 regions origin told Night Sorrow about this, Night Sorrow felt that it wasn't very appropriate. Currently, the Chaos Realm had 3 groups of worlds. Each group had 1,000 subordinate worlds. Once the sovereign law of the 9 regions world affected the structure of the Chaos Realm, it was hard to say what would happen. Night Sorrow wanted stability. He didn't want to break the current rules. After Night Sorrow communicated with the origin of the 9 zones world, he decided to control the influence of the sovereign law so that it wouldn't radiate outwards. He would use this energy to strengthen the world barrier and expand the 9 zones world. Finally, the 9 regions origin told Night Sorrow that the 9 regions world had already broken away from its original orbit. It could move on its own. If they wanted to prevent the surrounding spatial worlds from being affected and shattered by the sovereign law, the 9 regions world could move. The best location was the area in the middle of the 3 great worlds. It was a blank area. The 9 regions world could fill this gap. In addition, the 9 regions world could still move. When it truly became a great world, the heavenly Tao law would appear and its position would be fixed. After the 9 regions world's development was arranged, there were some simple matters. Ning Yun and Qiue got married. Ning Yun and Qiue originally planned to wait for the situation to stabilize before getting married. However, Night Sorrow didn't think so. There were always twists and turns. They couldn't delay their lives because of these things. The wedding was held in the 9 Layers building. Night Sorrow went back to preside over the wedding. Although the heavenly monarchs of the 3 realms couldn't go back to participate, they sent people close to them to participate and prepared congratulatory gifts. Ning Yun and Qiue's wedding was more grand than Sandalwood's and Night Sorrow's. This was because Night Sorrow was now the strongest person in the Chaos Realm. Everyone knew this. All the heavenly monarchs acknowledged this. Naturally, many people would participate in the wedding of his 2 disciples. Night Sorrow treated Ning Yun and Qiue like his own children. He taught them a lot before returning to the Xianhuang Oceanic World to continue cultivating. Ning Yun and Qiue also went to the Xianhuang Great World. They followed the Qing Emperor and Misty Rain to increase their knowledge and experience. They were his grand disciples. The Qing Emperor took them with him. On this day, the Qing Emperor took the 2 of them on a tour and returned to the camp. He looked at the 8 dragon cauldron and shook his head. You are his master. You are the most outstanding disciples, but you are not the most outstanding master. He is under a lot of pressure, so he doesn't have time to guide you. It's not that he doesn't care about you. Grandmaster, we understand Master. The 4 of us didn't receive as much guidance from Master as we did, said Ning Yun. Night Sorrow's 2 daughters and 2 sons were called junior brothers by Ning Yun and Chiue. Chapter 1469. Uncle has been through a lot these years, but we can't do anything to help him. July sighed. She had always called Night Sorrow uncle because she saw Night Sorrow as her family. Wrong. This is your master's fault. Because he rushed too quickly, he didn't give you time to catch up. Other cultivators need a lot of time to cultivate to the sovereign king level. At that time, the disciple may already be a saint king and can help the master. When the master cultivates to the sovereign king level, the disciple can be a sovereign king. The time is proportional. However, your master is different from you in this aspect. In fact, this also gives you pressure. Emperor Qing said with a smile. He was very happy because his inheritance was being carried forward. Qing Emperor only had 2 disciples in his life. His eldest disciple, Zhan Tan, was very powerful and famous in the 3 realms. His youngest disciple, Night Sorrow, had reached a height that no one in the chaotic realm had ever reached. He was a virtuous saint and had unparalleled combat power. Even the once famous human emperor and Bloodblade Lord couldn't do it. They were not invincible in the heavenly monarch realm. They were almost the same. What about Night Sorrow now? He could kill heavenly monarchs easily, a half monarch, and a rank 9 corpse. Most importantly, Night Sorrow had done all this when he was in the monarch realm. Night Sorrow had no problems himself. His disciples and children were also very outstanding. Therefore, his lineage was destined to be glorious in the future. But our talents are not good, Ning Yun said. Grandmaster only had 2 disciples in his life. Your great-uncle Zhan Tan and your master. There are so many geniuses. Why didn't Grandmaster accept any? Because temperament is the main factor that determines one's success. Your master has it, and so do you. Emperor Qing nodded to Ning Yun. We will work hard. July nodded. Very good. Cultivate your body and bring peace to the world. Your master doesn't cultivate the way of the gentleman, but he has shown it to the fullest. Qing Emperor looked in the direction of the dragon cauldron again, and then turned to leave. Night Sorrow cultivated his fighting spirit every day. Sometimes he would go out for a walk. While Night Sorrow was talking to Datura, Yi Qingyan and Yi Yujun arrived. Night Sorrow was stunned when he saw the 2 of them. Father, you haven't been home for a long time. Yi Qingyan shook Night Sorrow's arm as she spoke. I really want to scold you. Forget it. Night Sorrow was originally really unhappy. It wasn't safe here, and he didn't want his children to come over. One had to know that when his disciples came, he would arrange for them to stay with their master and master's wife. Big sis, you're amazing. I was originally waiting to be scolded, Yi Yujun said softly. Disobedient and worrisome, Night Sorrow muttered. What was this place? This was a battlefield. Father, don't worry. As long as there's a battle, I'll pull my little brother to the teleportation array and run. I won't distract you, said Yi Qingyan with a smile. All right, stay here and don't run around, Night Sorrow said. The only genuine version. All of them yes. Pirated version, Father. These are the dishes that Mother personally prepared for you and Aunt Aluo. Yi Qingyan took out the food box. All right. You 2 have a seat too. How's the family? Are your little brother and sister obedient? Night Sorrow waved his hand, letting Yi Qingyan and Yi Yujun sit down. Obedient? Father, the word obedient has nothing to do with our Yi Xiaoluo. That guy is causing a ruckus. Father Gu has to watch him carefully every day because if he's not careful, he can set the Sky City on fire. Yi Qingyan glanced at Datura and said with a smile. Haha, that's how I should act. Sandalwood entered the tent. Senior brother, you're here. Have a seat. Night Sorrow stood up and greeted him. Yi Qingyan and Yi Yujun also bowed. It's a good thing when a child is capable. He's so listless and useless. Sandalwood sat down and said, Little brother Luo's talent is good. He reached the void inquiry stage without cultivating much. He's much better than me and my sister. Yi Yujun said, Talent is just one aspect. Temperament is very important. We have to pay more attention to this in the future. Night Sorrow thought for a while and said, After eating, Night Sorrow thought for a while and decided to put aside his cultivation for the time being and spend some time with his children. However, his children ran away with Sandalwood. I haven't been back for quite some time. It must be hard for my sisters to take care of little Luo. Datura said. It's nothing. You know 9th senior sister, 6th senior sister and Chuyu. They will treat little Luo as their own. Night Sorrow was not worried. You have a calm personality. Little Luo's personality is like mine. He will inherit everything I have in the future. Datura said with a smile. She was very happy to hear that her son was naughty. Inherit everything you have. Luo, let's discuss this. Children need their own space. We don't want to be tied down. So what if we don't want everything in the dark abyss? I actually want to persuade you to give up. Night Sorrow said. What are you thinking? That's not what I meant. When I said I would inherit the techniques and absolute arts, I will arrange for someone else to manage the dark abyss later. Why would I tie up the children? Datura glared at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow smiled apologetically. Of the 4 children, Night Sorrow did not plan a path for them because he knew that everyone's path was different. Following that, Night Sorrow began to cultivate again. His son, daughter, and disciple stayed here. Qing Emperor, Misty Rain, and Sandalwood were taken care of. He did not need to worry. On this day, Night Sorrow was cultivating when the 9 regions' origins called for Night Sorrow. There was a problem. It was the teleportation array. As the 9 regions world moved, some teleportation arrays were not far enough and were about to fail. The teleportation array connecting the 9 regions world and the Wuji world had already failed. If the 9 regions world continued to move, all the teleportation arrays connected to the outside world would fail. Because of the distance, the teleportation crystals of the inter-world teleportation arrays were not high enough. What should he do? The 9 regions world had to activate a top-level inter-world teleportation array to connect to other worlds. Night Sorrow came to the command tent. He wanted to find Qing Emperor to solve this problem. When they saw Yi Shang, the heavenly lords who were talking quieted down. Master, I have something to discuss with you. Night Sorrow sat down and said, What is it? Is there any trouble? Qing Emperor asked. No, I want to dismantle one of the inter-world teleportation arrays in the reincarnation world and set it up in the 9 regions world. Night Sorrow explained the current situation. Currently, there were 2 top-level teleportation arrays connecting the Xianhuang Great World and the reincarnation world. Night Sorrow wanted to dismantle one and set it up in the 9 regions world. You are the Realm Lord. You control the 9 regions world and do not develop the world group for the sake of the Chaos Realm. Now that it has moved, it is necessary to set up a teleportation array, Tang Jianfeng said. The reincarnation world is stable. One teleportation array is enough. It is also very important to connect it to the 9 regions world. Qing Emperor nodded. Later, I will give you the inter-world teleportation array crystal in the Shenwu city. You can open the teleportation array between the 9 regions world and the Shenwu Great World. Heavenly Lord Shen Hu said. After a great world rose, it was very important to connect it to other great worlds. Speak. Third Watch. Chapter 1470. Tang Jianfeng even gave Night Sorrow the inter-realm teleportation array crystal of the black-yellow Great World. I can't leave. Uncle Shangguan, please help me set up the teleportation array, Night Sorrow said. After the exchange, Night Sorrow left the command tent and found Shangguan Hong. He asked Shangguan Hong to dismantle the inter-realm teleportation array of the Heaven Tiger Pass and set it up with the teleportation crystal. Night Sorrow wanted to set up the main teleportation array at the 9 region city, which used to be the Clear Sky City. Night Sorrow also told Shangguan Hong to send the inter-realm teleportation crystal of the main teleportation array to him first. He wanted the secret technique to recognize him as its master. This way, he would be able to control everyone who entered and left the 9 regions world. Although he could kill a Heaven Lord now, Night Sorrow didn't want to take any risks. The 9 regions world was his home. He couldn't be careless or make any mistakes. Shangguan Hong followed Night Sorrow's instructions. He first sent the crystal of the main teleportation array to Night Sorrow. After Night Sorrow recognized him as its master, Shangguan Hong started to set up the teleportation array. Heaven Lord God who also gave the teleportation crystal of the divine martial city to Night Sorrow. It was more troublesome to set up a large-scale teleportation array. Besides, it had to connect several great worlds. It also had to be set up between the cities in the sky. It took Shangguan Hong a month to finish setting up the teleportation array. Knowing that the teleportation array was fine, Night Sorrow communicated with the 9 regions world's origin. The 9 regions world continued to move. After everything was settled, Night Sorrow started to cultivate again. The 9 regions world was currently using the best teleportation crystal. As long as they were in the chaos domain, they could teleport. Therefore, Night Sorrow didn't have to worry. Besides, once the teleportation crystal recognized him as its master, Night Sorrow would be able to sense it. He could control the opening and closing of the teleportation array. With peace of mind, Night Sorrow cultivated peacefully. Sometimes, he would go to the God-slaying team's base to take a look. He would also spend time with his son and daughter. When he was relaxed, Night Sorrow's cultivation base advanced rapidly. Whether it was his realm or the cultivation of his fighting spirit, they were both improving rapidly. Night Sorrow was also in trouble. He had to use his leakless true body at all times. Otherwise, his battle intent, which carried an austere aura, would injure others. It would be unbearable. After spending 1.5 years in the real world, which was also 10 years in the Haotian godly pagoda, Night Sorrow's will of nothingness had reached 99%, reaching the highest level. One more step and he would no longer be an overlord, but a lord of heaven. Night Sorrow also stopped his seclusion because it was very difficult to make the final step. He had to first stabilize his current realm. In addition, just 1 point away from perfection, one also needed an opportunity and accumulation. When the opportunity arrived, it would be perfect. If the opportunity did not arrive, then one would forever be a sovereign and have no fate with a heaven monarch. After Night Sorrow's original body came out of seclusion, he went to take a look outside the devil blood energy. After 2 years, the devil blood energy was still very weak and had not risen. This situation made Night Sorrow realize that the other party would not make a move for the time being. The strength of the devil blood energy directly determined the pace of the devil blood domain. Without the support of the devil blood energy, Xie Bing and the others could only wait. Night Sorrow went to the command tent in the reincarnation Great World and greeted the Qing Emperor and Misty Rain. It's very oppressive. Although your aura doesn't leak out, I can still feel it. In fact, I'm even being suppressed. In the past few years, your cultivation has increased rapidly. If you take one more step, you will become a heavenly monarch. At that time, even if the demon commander is a half-step monarch, he will only be killed by you, Emperor Qing said. Master, I have let you down. Now, I have no feeling of comprehending the will. In other words, I do not know where to start with the remaining 1 point. Night Sorrow shook his head and said, Kiki. That's right. Every peak stage monarch will have this period of confusion. During this period, it is impossible to break through. What about your senior brother? He was trapped for 5 million years. The fastest record for breaking through this period was at least 1,000 years. The Qing Emperor said, No, 1,000 years is too long. It is the time of turmoil now. It is not stable. When he heard that it would take 1,000 years, Night Sorrow was a little anxious. The current situation should not be a problem, right? That evil demon commander is also not a match for you, Night Sorrow, Misty Rain said. Mistress, I have some deductions. The devil blood domain has not retreated. This means that they still have a backup plan and can restrain me. Moreover, this half-step monarch realm evil demon commander is only a commander of the army. Then, what is the cultivation base of the devil blood domain's chief? At the very least, his combat strength is stronger than the evil demon commander. It is very likely that he is a monarch realm cultivator. If I do not enter the heaven monarch realm, it will be difficult for me to fight against him. Night Sorrow said his dilemma. I see. Misty Rain's expression was a little ugly. Actually, I have thought about these things. I feel that everything is fate. Since we can survive until now, we can naturally survive until now. There is always a thread of fate in everything. The Qing Emperor said. Then, I will not hide it from Master. There is also the problem of the celestial sect. There are also some things that are not right for them to have a rank 9 skeleton. First of all, A rank 9 monarch realm cultivator would not become a skeleton for no reason. They must have been killed. If they can kill a monarch realm cultivator, they will be a great threat to us. Knight Sorrow simply said all his concerns. Your concerns are not unreasonable. However, the world is the world of the people. It is not the responsibility of one person. Therefore you do not need to feel too much pressure. The Qing Emperor said. Knight Sorrow nodded. In the current situation, he could only work hard. It was useless to think about other things. He did not know about these things. These heaven monarchs had thought about it and discussed it together. However, they did not have a good way to deal with it. J is the only one, the official V version. He is the one who stole the Z version. For others, it will take a lot of time. However, it is not necessarily the case for you. Perhaps you will have an epiphany, and this door will be kicked open. The Qing Emperor said. Knight Sorrow returned to his tent. Datura, who was meditating, opened his eyes. He stood up and made a pot of tea. When they were chatting, Knight Sorrow told him about his communication with the Qing Emperor. This cannot be rushed. The last step may trap people for a long time. However, it is also possible to break through it after an epiphany. Datura said. Let's not drink tea. Let's drink some wine. Knight Sorrow took out a jar of wine. After drinking 2 mouthfuls of wine, Knight Sorrow stood up and squinted his eyes to look at something. Knight Sorrow, what's wrong? Datura asked. When the 9 Zones world was moving, I discovered a few special worlds. There is a spatial world. It is the Ice Dragon world that I have been to before. Knight Sorrow said. Ice Dragon world? Is it the Ice Dragon world that you obtained the true body of Bufang? Datura asked in surprise. Yes, it is that Ice Dragon world. Actually, I should go and take a look. After all, I gained a lot the last time I went to Ice Dragon world. Knight Sorrow thought for a while and stopped the 9 Zones world from moving. He planned to go and take a look. After all, he was friends with the Ice Dragons. If he could visit, he would definitely visit. Speak. The 4th update has arrived. Today's update is complete. Thank you for your help. Chapter 1471. Unsealed. Knight Sorrow still remembered living in the Ice Dragon realm for a few decades. Shi Lai treated him like a nephew while Shi Tai and Shi Yu treated him like brothers. He missed it very much. In the past, he didn't go because the Ice Dragon realm wasn't connected to the outside world except at certain times. It was very difficult for anyone to enter. But now he could enter. Naturally, he had to go. His main body would stay here while his clone would go and pay a visit. Knight Sorrow made his decision. After bidding farewell to Mandela and the others, Knight Sorrow's avatar left the Alliance through the teleportation array and returned to the 9 Regions world. Just as Knight Sorrow arrived at the world's barrier and was about to tear it open to travel through space, he detected someone outside the world's barrier. Shi Tai. Knight Sorrow discovered that it was Shi Tai. At the edge of the 9 Regions world, Shi Tai tried to enter a few times, but the space collapsed and shattered, not giving him a chance to enter. No matter how he traveled, he was trapped in the spatial turbulence. Chuckle. Knight Sorrow waved his arm and suppressed the spatial energy. Then, he tore open the world's barrier and quietly looked at Shi Tai. Ah! Knight Sorrow. Shi Tai entered the 9 Regions world and went forward to give Knight Sorrow a bear hug. I was planning to visit you and Shi Yu and also visit Uncle Lai. Then you came. You crashed into it a few times and couldn't enter. You must feel good. Knight Sorrow said with a smile. You're too unkind. You just watched me crash into the wall. To think that I came out just to drink with you. Shi Tai glared at Knight Sorrow. How can you say that I'm unkind? When I found out that I could travel to the Ice Dragon realm, I came over immediately to find you. Come, accompany me to see Uncle Lai first. Then you guys can come out. Knight Sorrow said. All right, I came out to scout the way. Because of your help, the elites of our Ice Dragon realm have all cultivated techniques. Just the wind tribulation and the fire tribulation won't threaten their lives. As for the more intense wind tribulation and the fire tribulation, it's up to fate whether they can withstand it or not. After Knight Sorrow left, Shi Lai and the others focused on cultivating not leaking true body. Now that they had some achievements, Shi Tai planned to come out to scout. The ice dragons couldn't be trapped in a world forever. Up after just passing through, Shitai had expended a lot of energy, so he recovered and then flew towards the ice dragon realm with Yishang. After reaching the ice dragon realm, Night Sorrow and Shitai tore the world's barrier. The ice dragon realm is very powerful. Normally, the world's origin would restrict cultivators above the sovereign king level from entering. I can enter the ice dragon realm without any restrictions. It probably feels that I'm not a threat, Yishang said. The ice dragon realm's world's origin is in the ice dragon abyss. Maybe it's because of the existence of the ice dragons. The world's origin doesn't have a strong sense of danger. Shitai said. The two of them entered the ice dragon realm's area. At the profound ice river, Night Sorrow set up a teleportation array. Then they began to fly. Because they didn't avoid anything, their speed was extremely fast. An hour later, Night Sorrow stopped. Why did you stop? My royal father and royal sister must be very anxious to see you. Shitai said. Hee. Then you continue flying. I'll take the teleportation array. Night Sorrow pointed to the side with a smile. There's an array here? Shitai was a monarch, so he naturally had good eyesight. He had already discovered the illusion array that Night Sorrow had set up. Let's go. Night Sorrow brought Shitai into the teleportation array and began to teleport. With the teleportation array, it was naturally very fast. After 15 minutes, Night Sorrow and Shitai arrived at the Dragon King Palace. Seeing Night Sorrow, the ice dragon directly slapped Night Sorrow's shoulder heavily. You brat, what kind of cultivation speed is this? In the blink of an eye, you've cultivated to the monarch realm. Uncle Ai, how have you been these years? Night Sorrow said with a smile. Good. Very good. Shilai said with a laugh. At this moment, Shiyu came over. She gave Yishang a hug as well. After sitting down, Shilai asked, How have you been recently? I'm all right. There's a lot going on outside. I came to see Uncle Lai, Shitai, and Shiyu. I'll go back later. Night Sorrow said. You can't go back if you don't stay for a few decades. Shiyu glared at Night Sorrow. Shiyu, it's very chaotic outside. A realm war has broken out. The Reincarnation Great World, the Black-Yellow Great World, and the Shinwu Great World are fighting against the Devil Blood Realm. The situation is very bad. Night Sorrow sighed and explained the situation. Father, are we considered a subsidiary world of these three great world groups? Shitai looked at Shilai and asked. Yes or no, we have to go to war too. Are we supposed to watch Night Sorrow fight in front of us like nothing happened? Shiyu's temper became even more irritable. The Ice Dragon Realm is actually a subsidiary world of the Azure Dragon Constellation Realm. However, we're closer to the three great worlds and farther away from the Azure Dragon Realm. It's not an exaggeration to say that we're a subsidiary world of the Reincarnation Great World. Aolai said. Uncle Lai, if the Ice Dragon Realm wants to be connected to the outside world, we'll have to set up a teleportation array. The spatial world I came from will move away later. Night Sorrow said. The Nine Regions world had only passed by the edge of the Ice Dragon Realm when it moved. Seeing that Aolai didn't understand, Night Sorrow didn't hide the truth and directly explained the situation. Uncle Lai, top-grade teleportation crystals are hard to find. The teleportation arrays used by the Nine Regions world are all built by tearing down the east wall to pay the west wall. Therefore, I don't know how to help you. Teleportation crystals. There are plenty of them. Do you have to tear down the east wall to pay the west wall? There aren't any top-grade ones. I'll go get them for you. Shitai got up and left. Shitai is very generous. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Dragons are famous for being stingy, but they won't be stingy with their brothers and friends. Night Sorrow, help Uncle Lai arrange the teleportation array. Uncle Lai's original body is now in seclusion. However, if you need anything, send a message to Uncle Lai. Uncle Lai will be there at any time. Shilai said. Uncle Lai is too polite. This is some tea from my hometown. Uncle Lai, take it. Night Sorrow took out a packet of heart-cleansing tea and gave it to Aolai. Then Uncle Lai will take it. Shilai nodded. Shiyu, I won't give you any gifts. I'm just inviting you to the Nine Regions world as a guest. When the time comes, I'll treat you warmly. Night Sorrow said to Xiu. Then it's settled. You must treat me warmly. Otherwise, I'll stay in your house, Xiu said with a smile. At that moment, Xilai strode back. Father, what grade is this teleportation crystal? After speaking, Xilai placed a large piece of teleportation crystal that was more than a foot in diameter in front of Xilai. It was shining with light. The Ice Dragon Abyss contains the remains of our ancestors. Your grandfather wanted to get it out, but he failed many times. However, it wasn't without results. This teleportation crystal is a 9th grade material. If you use it to set up a teleportation array, there's no place you can't teleport to. We have no use for it, so we left it in the warehouse. Xilai looked at it and casually tossed it to Night Sorrow. Speak. First watch. Chapter 1472. Unseal? Uncle Lai, this is not appropriate. Night Sorrow stood up. The level 9 material was too precious, and he could not accept it. HXS/, what's not appropriate? You discovered the secret of the heavenly mandate scepter and gave the ice dragons hope. You also gave us a chance to get out. What's a teleportation crystal? Take it. Shelia glared at Night Sorrow with a pair of copper bells. Then I'll take it. Night Sorrow smiled and nodded. You call me Uncle Lai, so you're my nephew, which is equivalent to the Prince of the Ice Dragons. Uncle Lai will not be polite with you, so don't treat Uncle Lai as an outsider. The Ice Dragon realm doesn't need to be too chaotic with the outside world. It's fine as long as it's connected to your world. This way, your world will be stable, and so will the Ice Dragon realm. Uncle Lai won't have to worry about it, Shelia said. Father is smart, Xiu said with a smile. Xiu, don't talk nonsense. Uncle Lai trusts you. The 9 regions world is connected to the 3 major world groups. The Ice Dragon realm can teleport to any of the 3 major world groups by teleporting to the 9 regions world, Night Sorrow said. So what if he's smart? Night Sorrow is powerful, so can't he make father worry? Shelia glared at his daughter. Xiu curled her lips and did not say anything. These are all for you. Take them. Shelia took out a few teleportation stones. Among them, there were 2 top-level teleportation stones that were connected to the major worlds. Then I won't be polite. Uncle Lai, my strength has increased. I'll go to the Ice Dragon Abyss and see if I can get the bones of the ice dragons back, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. Okay. But don't take the risk. Shitai, you go with him. You can make the decision to communicate with the outside world. If you don't know anything, ask Night Sorrow. Father still has to go into seclusion, Shelia said to Shitai and Night Sorrow. Shelia left and went into seclusion. Night Sorrow, my father is an outstanding genius among the ice dragons. In the past, because of the trials of wind and fire, my father didn't dare to cultivate. After you explained the profound meaning of the heavenly mandate scepter, my father has been in seclusion, vowing to reach the 9th rank Emperor realm, Shitai said. Uncle Lai can do it. All right, Brother Tai, let's go to the Ice Dragon Abyss. I'll see if I can fish out the Ice Dragon skeleton. I'm pressed for time, so I can't stay for too long, Night Sorrow said. Knowing that the situation outside was bad, Shitai and Xiu didn't say anything and brought Night Sorrow to the Ice Dragon Abyss. The situation in the Ice Dragon Abyss was still as bad as before. The extreme cold was rampant. However, the Night Sorrow from back then was not at the same level as now. The difference was huge. He did not even need to defend against the cold outside the Ice Dragon Abyss. His monarch rank body could easily withstand it. When they reached the shore of the Ice Dragon Abyss, Night Sorrow looked inside the Ice Dragon Abyss. The white cold air almost froze everything. The air was still, and only the cold currents were moving. Night Sorrow, the Ice Dragon Abyss has always been a forbidden area. My father is a big shot and a Lord of Heaven, but he still can't get the skeleton back. If you have a way, try it. It doesn't matter if you can't fish it out, Shitai said. Wait for me here. Don't come near. Night Sorrow's body shook, and a murderous battle intent burst forth. Then, he flew toward the Ice Dragon Abyss. Actually, Night Sorrow didn't need to say anything. Even the talented ice dragons couldn't get close to the Ice Dragon Abyss. Seeing Night Sorrow fly forward, Shitai and Xiu were shocked. Night Sorrow's aura was very strong now. It forcibly spread out and broke through the extreme cold that froze everything. The pressure was great. The extreme cold energy above the ice dragon abyss was squeezing toward Night Sorrow. The void energy protected his body. When the extreme cold reached Night Sorrow's side, it turned into nothingness. When the distance was enough, Night Sorrow threw out the ice dragon skin tendon net that he hadn't used for a long time. The net flew out and covered one of the huge claws of the ice dragon skeleton. "Get over here!" Yi Sorrow roared. Resisting the freezing chi, he pulled with all his might with his right hand. The ice dragon abyss shook. The skeleton of the ice dragon was extremely huge. It was almost a part of the ice dragon abyss. When Night Sorrow pulled it, it caused an extremely strong energy vibration. Night Sorrow's battle intent burst forth to the limit. He resisted the pressure of heaven and earth in the ice dragon abyss. While using the void energy to protect his body, it also protected the ice dragon skin tendon net from being frozen by the extreme cold. The huge skeleton of the ice dragon was moving. However, its speed was very slow. Its body was too big, like a small mountain. In addition, the extreme cold was constantly freezing it. Night Sorrow had a hard time pulling it. Rumbling sounds kept coming out. Night Sorrow and the ice dragon were getting closer and closer. "An immemorial ferocious beast," Shiyu muttered softly. Night Sorrow was too powerful. The energy on his body clashed with the extreme cold, causing the energy to constantly churn. After pulling for some distance, Night Sorrow felt that he had used up a lot of energy. He shook his arm and put away the ice dragon skin tendon net, returning to the shore of the ice dragon abyss. "I thought I could withstand it, but it's still not enough." The ice dragon abyss is not only suppressed by will and laws, but also by the power of the heavenly Tao. However, if I can't do it once, I'll do it a few times. "I should be able to fish it out," Night Sorrow said. Shitai and Shiyu looked at Night Sorrow as if they were looking at a monster. "Night Sorrow, are you sure you're a human?" Shiyu asked after staring at Night Sorrow for a while. "What are you asking? My grandfather, father, and mother are all humans. Our Night Sorrow family is also a large family in the 9 regions world. We're all humans," Night Sorrow said. "All right, you're ruthless enough," Shiyu said. "Night Sorrow, do this a few times and you'll be able to fish out the ancestor skeleton. Also, can you do me a favor?" Shitai looked at Night Sorrow with excitement in his eyes. "Brother Tai, you're too polite. Please tell me what you need." Night Sorrow didn't understand why Shitai was so excited. "Over there. That's my childhood friend. She was cultivating in seclusion here, but she was accidentally swept in by an extreme cold current. I can't be with her for the rest of my life, but I don't want her to stay here alone. It's best if we can put her in the ancestral land." Shitai pointed at an ice dragon skeleton that was much smaller than the ice dragon king in the ice dragon abyss. "I will. If possible, I'll fish out all the ice dragon skeletons here and let them return to the ancestral land," Night Sorrow said. The ice dragon skeleton was the largest in the ice dragon abyss, and the binding power of the ice dragon abyss was also the strongest. If Night Sorrow could pull out the ice dragon skeleton, then fishing out the rest of the ice dragon skeletons wouldn't be a problem. After Night Sorrow rested for a while, he flew into the sky above the ice dragon abyss and continued to pull out the ice dragon skeleton. This time, Night Sorrow activated his virtuous body and increased the strength of pulling the ice dragon skeleton. The energy consumption was great, so Night Sorrow returned to the ice dragon abyss to rest. When Night Sorrow rested for the 3rd time, Aolai came. When he saw Night Sorrow pulling the ice dragon skeleton out, he was shocked because he couldn't do it. If he could, he would have already brought the skeleton back to the ancestral land. "Speak. The 2nd chapter has arrived. Thank you, brother, for unlocking the 4th chapter yesterday. Thank you so much. Today, I'll add another chapter to thank you. I also want to add more, but because the 4th chapter is guaranteed, the workload is very large. After 3 million words, it's very difficult to write a chapter. Actually, I'm under pressure because everyone is working hard to support She-Boy. She-Boy doesn't want to write things that aren't good or interesting. That would be blasphemy, a blasphemy to everyone's support for She-Boy. Therefore, my writing speed has decreased. Please understand." Chapter 1473. After another rest, Night Sorrow finally pulled the ice dragon skeleton out of the ice dragon abyss. After pulling the ice dragon out of the ice dragon abyss, Night Sorrow let out a roar. He had done something he didn't even dare to think about in the past. However, at this moment, something strange happened. The Ice Dragon King skeleton that had been pulled out shone brightly. It directly sent Night Sorrow, who bore the brunt of the attack, flying backwards and spitting out blood. Yi Shang, who was flying backward, cursed in his heart. What Heaven Monarch Realm Ice Dragon King? It was not. It was the Ice Dragon Emperor of the Imperial Realm, the fallen Ice Dragon Emperor. The Ice Dragon Emperor's aura was no longer suppressed by the ice after being pulled out of the Ice Dragon Abyss. When it burst out, it sent Night Sorrow flying. His sternum shattered, and his true chi became chaotic. Night Sorrow was heavily injured. The Ice Dragon Emperor's aura was very powerful. It was on a completely different level from the Celestial Sect's Rank 9 skeleton. After attacking Night Sorrow, its aura was restrained. Shiyu flew over and supported Night Sorrow. Are you all right? Night Sorrow supported Shiyu's shoulder and steadied himself. He then looked at Ao Lai. I'm sorry. There are some things I didn't tell you. The ancestor wasn't an ice dragon, but a rank 9 ice dragon emperor. I'm known as the most outstanding person in the clan, but compared to the ancestor, I'm nothing, said Ao Lai. Night Sorrow nodded. He now understood. Night Sorrow, you heal first. Uncle Lai will go settle the ancestor skeleton. Shi Lai waved his arm and left the Ice Dragon Abyss with the Ice Dragon Emperor's skeleton. You two tricked me. Remember that. Night Sorrow glared at Shi Tai and Shiyu. After drinking the life spirit liquid, he sat down and began to heal. Sister, what's going on? Why didn't I know anything about it? Shi Tai asked Shiyu. How can I know what you don't know? Shiyu was also very puzzled. Night Sorrow continued to recover. After Xilia returned, he went to Night Sorrow's side to guard him. After recuperating for half a day, Night Sorrow stood up. This time, his injuries were more serious. Night Sorrow, let's go back and talk. Zeta, Shiyu, follow me. There are some things you should know and understand. After saying that, Xilia flew towards the Ice Dragon Palace. Night Sorrow and the other two followed behind. Shi Lai brought the three of them to Shi Tai's courtyard. Then Xilia revealed some secrets that no one, including the ice dragons, knew about. The old ancestor of the ice dragons was the prince of the Azure Dragons. He was extremely talented and possessed extremely powerful ice abilities. Due to his rebellious nature, he married the princess of the Ice Dragon clan when he was traveling the world. This angered the Azure Dragons and was expelled from the Azure Dragon clan. After being expelled from the Azure Dragons, the old ancestor came to the Ice Dragon realm and gave birth to ice dragons. Later on, the two old ancestors left the Ice Dragon realm and went to the legendary Celestial realm. However, the old ancestor left behind a clone, which was the skeleton from earlier. Many years later, the Moon Empress became an emperor. Countless years later, the old ancestor died. The clone in the Ice Dragon realm also died. Although the body was intact, the soul was destroyed. Xilia revealed some secrets to Night Sorrow and the other two. The old ancestor might have been punished by the heavens, and so were the ice dragons. The tribulation of wind and fire is the product of the heavens' punishment. Many large worlds are unable to produce an emperor, but the Ice Dragon realm can. However, no one dares to touch the tribulation of wind and fire, Xilia continued. As Xilia explained, Night Sorrow understood one thing. A world that had never produced an emperor, even a large world, was unable to produce an emperor. This was the shackle of the heavenly Tao. The Ice Dragon realm could produce an emperor now because the old ancestor of the Ice Dragon realm had broken the shackle. This was easy to understand. The 9 regions world could not produce a king in the past. Yi Qianhua could not enter the king realm after countless reincarnations because there was no way. After Night Sorrow became a king, it was equivalent to opening a door. Later generations could walk through this door and become a king. Ice dragons, other than the clan leader who needs to have a high cultivation level, will no longer comprehend the will after reaching the monarch realm. They are afraid of touching the forbidden door and provoking the tribulation of wind and fire, Xilia said. No one dared to touch the ice dragon's taboo. The old ancestor of the ice dragons left the heavenly mandate scepter, which was the key to unlocking the taboo. After Night Sorrow understood it, he gave the ice dragons hope. That was why Xilia dared to cultivate in seclusion and try to break through to the 9th rank. I understand. It seems that the 3 macro world groups of the chaotic realm are also limited by the shackles of the way of heaven, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a moment. Becoming an emperor in the celestial realm is the only way to break the shackles. Our ancestors were like this back then. Uncle Lai also knows this much. Now, the ice dragons do not have any records of how our ancestors went to the celestial realm. If you reach the heaven monarch realm, you can also go to the ice dragon realm. Maybe you will have a chance. After all, the ice dragon realm is a little special. Xilia nodded to Night Sorrow. Thank you, Uncle Lai, for clearing my doubts. Later, I will go and pull all the ice dragons out of the ice dragon abyss and let them rest in their ancestral land. Then I will go back, Night Sorrow said. Although he knew some things, he was most worried about the battlefield in the black-yellow Great World. That's fine. You can set up the teleportation formation in the square, in front of the Ice Dragon Palace. If there is anything, you can send a message to Uncle Lai, Xilia said to Night Sorrow. Xilia was busy with his closed-door cultivation. After chatting for a while, he left, leaving Shi Yu and Shi Tai to accompany Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was injured by the Ice Dragon Emperor's counterattack. He rested for 2 days and then fished out all the Ice Dragon skeletons from the Ice Dragon Abyss. After that, he set up the teleportation formation in front of the Ice Dragon Palace. Night Sorrow planned to leave. Brother, we still have some things to deal with here. We will go find you later, Shi Tai said. I'll activate the teleportation formation here after I return. You can teleport directly to the 9-domain world, and then you can teleport to any of the 3 great worlds, Yishang said after embedding a teleportation crystal in the teleportation formation. Okay. Shi Tai nodded. Then I will leave, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Here, take this. Sita gave Night Sorrow a storage ring. Brother Sita, this isn't interesting. Night Sorrow looked at Sita and frowned. Moj New Chapter 2D Section E Shangu. What do you mean boring? It's just some wine and a small gift. Don't waste my time. Let's go back and wait for me, Sita's arrival. Sita patted Night Sorrow's shoulder and said. Nodding helplessly, Night Sorrow took out the teleportation array disk and teleported to the small teleportation array he had set up. After watching Night Sorrow leave, Shi Tai and Shi Yu looked at each other. Big brother, Night Sorrow is very strong now. That's right. This fellow is indeed ridiculously strong. We'll go look for him later. Now, let's arrange the matters at hand. Shi Tai said. Taking the teleportation array, Night Sorrow returned to the 9 Domains world. In the 9 Domain city, Night Sorrow separated the teleportation crystal and embedded it. The teleportation array between the 9 Domains world and the Ice Dragon realm was officially opened. Then, Night Sorrow communicated with the 9 Domains origin body. The 9 Domains world could continue to move to the predetermined location. His main body was in the Black Origin Great World's battlefield and could confirm that the situation was stable. Night Sorrow entered the 9 Domains origin body's defensive barrier, and went to the main palace next to the heaven-sealing Great Hall. That was the City Lord's mansion. The 9 Domains world only had 1 realm master, and the 9 Domains city only had 1 city lord. That was Night Sorrow. After entering the City Lord's mansion, Night Sorrow took out the teleportation crystal ring that Shi Tai had given him. Chapter 1474. After opening the storage ring, Night Sorrow smiled. He knew that there was more than just wine in the storage ring. There must be something else. As expected, there were a lot of shiny things in the storage ring. Night Sorrow took out a jade bottle. After opening the jade bottle, Night Sorrow was stunned for a moment. Night Sorrow could tell from the energy emitted by the blood essence that it was the blood essence of a Heaven Monarch Realm Ice Dragon. It was definitely not Xilia's. Night Sorrow could feel that the aura was different. Night Sorrow understood that this was the blood essence that the Ice Dragons had obtained and stored in their ancestors. It was good stuff. Night Sorrow could use it to strengthen his body. Just like his cultivation, his body needed to be improved. Although he didn't use it now, when his body reached the Heaven Monarch realm, he needed to continue to improve it. After leaving the important things, such as the Tier 9 teleportation crystal and other resources, To the clone in the Heaven Sealing Hall, Knight Sorrow teleported back to the battlefield in the black-yellow great world. After thinking for a while, Knight Sorrow decided to change his way of thinking. His clone would cultivate the fighting spirit while his original body would relax and search for the feeling. If he could feel it, he might have the opportunity to make a breakthrough. Knight Sorrow switched his protective treasure, Knight. His clone used the Haotian Divine Pagoda to accelerate time to cultivate the fighting spirit while his original body walked around casually to search for the feeling. Knight Sorrow's aura was getting stronger and stronger. Although the aura didn't leak out, everyone could feel that there was a peerless, ferocious beast hiding in Knight Sorrow's body. Knight Sorrow entered the Devil Blood Chi and killed 2 more times. The evil soldiers couldn't do anything, but 2 heaven monarchs under their command were killed by Knight Sorrow. PWDPW. The 2 legions of the Devil Blood domain had tens of thousands of people, more than a dozen heaven monarchs, and a half-step martial emperor commander. However, they couldn't stop Knight Sorrow from killing. This was a disgrace to the Devil Blood domain. Knight Sorrow was fast and powerful. Besieging, chasing, and intercepting were all useless. They couldn't stop Knight Sorrow's violent charge. The evil soldiers had no choice but to set up a formation to block Knight Sorrow's attack. At this moment, Knight Sorrow was the god of war in the hearts of the allied forces of the 3 realms. No one could stop Knight Sorrow. If he wanted to kill his way into the Devil Blood Chi, he could do so. The soldiers of the Devil Blood domain could only retreat. After drinking with the god-slaying team, Knight Sorrow went to Senior Brother Sandal's tent. You 2 have troubled your martial uncle again. Remember, when you trouble your martial uncle again, you must prepare some good wine and dishes, Yishang said as he looked at his children. After chatting with Jean Tan for a while, Knight Sorrow left. Looking at Knight Sorrow's back, Jean Tan nodded. Although your father doesn't care, no matter where he goes, he'll always be the center of attention. He'll always shine. But father has sacrificed too much behind the scenes, said Yi Qingyan in a low voice. Time passed. Knight Sorrow still couldn't find the opportunity to break through. This was something he couldn't do anything about. The will of nothingness had reached 99%, but it just wasn't perfect. While Knight Sorrow was searching for the opportunity to break through, the battle broke out again. Xie Bing's senior brother, Lai Bing of the Heavenly Dao, had come out of seclusion. Knowing that his junior brother had suffered a setback and had suffered a loss, Lai Bing was furious. He brought his guards to the Xuanhuan Great World through the void wormhole. Seeing Lai Bing, Xie Bing was somewhat excited. He had suffered too much in the past few years. Junior brother, what's going on? Lai Bing sat in the main seat in the tent. The other side sent out a monster. I can't take it down. The dandelion devil blood insects have suffered heavy losses. Fortunately, one of the larvae is a dandelion mother insect. But it takes a long time to reproduce, said Xie Bing. Don't worry. Let's kill our way over first. Later, I'll bring my insects over. Then everything will be solved, said Lai Bing of the Heavenly Dao coldly. Lai Bing of the Heavenly Dao and Xie Bing of the Demonic Dao had different styles. Lai Bing of the Heavenly Dao's aura was very violent, with a very strong pressure. I'll leave everything to you, senior brother. Xie Bing nodded. In his life, the person he admired the most was his senior brother Lai Bing. Lai Bing was even more admirable than the Magic Dragon General. Knight Sorrow stood in front of the Xuanhuan Great World's allied armies camp, looking into the distance. He already knew that something was wrong. Because of the opportunity, he sensed the arrival of experts. Father, why do you look so serious? Yi Qingyan went to Knight Sorrow's side. A great battle is coming. Perhaps I won't be able to resist. Take your brother, and senior sister and leave. I'll be enough to fight at the front. You don't need to do anything, said Knight Sorrow. Father! Yi Qingyan's eyes were filled with shock. She had never seen her father speak so seriously before. Listen to your father. Take your brother and leave. Sandalwood also arrived. Experts were very sensitive to auras. She also understood that the situation was very dangerous. Senior brother, the other side is very strong. Be careful. Knight Sorrow's clone came out of seclusion and merged with his main body. The Haotian Godly Pagoda also entered his main body. Junior brother, the other side has 2 half-step emperors. We might not be able to handle them. What should we do? Asked Sandalwood, looking at Night Sorrow. Let's fight and see what happens, said Night Sorrow, looking at the rolling devil blood energy. Qing Emperor, Tang Jianfeng, and the others all went to Night Sorrow's side. Master, get ready to retreat. If we can't handle it, we have to retreat. We can't lose anyone, said Night Sorrow. All right. The Lotus Supreme the Arch nodded. At this moment, he also understood how dangerous the situation was. Night Sorrow could fight a half-step Imperial Realm cultivator, but his opponent was not a half-step Imperial Realm cultivator. Standing in front of the camp, Night Sorrow waited for the battle. Actually, he felt that the current situation was dangerous, but it was not hopeless. If an emperor appeared, it would be a truly hopeless situation. I'll try my best to stop the two of them. However, I have clones, but they must have clones as well. So if I can't stop them, the Lords of Heaven have to think of a way to hold them back. We can't let them form an army, said Night Sorrow. Don't worry. The Wu Ling Mountain Master and I will cooperate to stop them. Lord of Heaven Shen Hu and the Wu Ling Mountain Master nodded. During this time, the Lords of Heaven had also cultivated the combined attack formation. Their main focus was defense. They had no chance of winning against half-step emperors, so defense was the most important thing. While Night Sorrow was giving instructions, Lai Bing and Xia Bing led the army out of the Devil Blood Energy camp and to the front of the camp. Who is Night Sorrow? Come out and die! Lai Bing of the Natural Law waved his halberd and shouted. Chapter 1475. Lai Bing's aura was stronger than evil soldiers. He stood there with energy rolling around him. This situation made Night Sorrow realize that a half-step Imperial Realm Warrior was the same as a half-step king. A half-step Imperial Realm Warrior could not be compared to a half-step king with 70% will. The same was true for a half-step Imperial Realm Warrior. Lai Bing and Evil Soldier had a huge gap between them. No matter how strong he was, Night Sorrow had to fight because he had too many people and things to protect behind him. Qualifications? Whoever I want to kill will die. This rule has existed for countless years. You are no exception. Lai Bing's aura was getting stronger and stronger, causing energy waves to ripple in all directions. I don't hate fighting. Fighting is a process of tempering, and it's also a method to solve problems. However, I really dislike people who boast shamelessly and say that they'll kill this and that. Can't they think about who they are? Being low-key is the most basic principle. Don't you understand this principle? Hearing Lai Bing's arrogant words, Night Sorrow was disgusted and retorted directly. Lai Bing waved his halberd and laughed. Countless years had passed and no one had dared to talk to him like this. Yi Shang's words didn't give him any face at all. Yi Shang respected his opponent, but the prerequisite was that the opponent was worthy of respect. After Lai Bing appeared, he spoke arrogantly. He was very disgusted. No need to laugh. How are we going to fight today? I can handle one of you. If two of you come, I, Night Sorrow, can handle it, Night Sorrow said coldly. Even if you are a Lord of Heaven or a half-step Imperial Realm Warrior, I, Lai Bing, will not fight with others, Lai Bing said. Haha, this is not something you can decide. This is a war. If he comes out, I will take it. Night Sorrow reached out and pulled out some Sara from behind him. Looking at Night Sorrow, Lai Bing revealed his fighting style. Your words are sharp, saying that Evil Soldier can't fight. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if our army doesn't fight today. It's just you and me. After I kill you, it doesn't matter when I kill them. They're just a bunch of ants. What can they do? Night Sorrow's body swayed and came to the front of the battlefield. Then, he waved some Sara. Come! Lai Bing jumped toward Night Sorrow in the air. He carried the power of heaven and earth with him as if he was going to press Night Sorrow into the darkness. Night Sorrow's battle intent burst forth. The murderous battle intent rippled in all directions, blocking the dark aura outside his body. At this moment, Lai Bing's halberd was aimed at Night Sorrow's head. Night Sorrow swung some Sara. With a loud explosion, the two of them separated. Yi Shan was pushed back a distance of 5 to 6 meters while Lai Bing was also pushed back in the air. Then, the two rushed forward at the same time and fought again. Lai Bing was of the death attribute. The power of heaven and earth he carried was the power of death. His moves were also very big. His strength and Zhen Qi were very violent. Night Sorrow's battle intent was released. He resisted the suppression of the dark aura. Then, he used the will of nothingness to protect his body and fought with Lai Bing. Very strong. Lai Bing was much stronger than Evil Soldier. Not only in terms of cultivation, but also in terms of actual fighting strength. However, Night Sorrow was not afraid. As long as he was not defeated in an instant, Night Sorrow could hold on. Samsara used the 3 ultimate skills of Void Extreme Point Kill, Time Vibration Wave, and Space Revolving Dragon Kill to fight against Lai Bing. Everyone held their breath. This battle was too important. It was related to the direction of the war. In addition, it was a battle between top experts. It was rare to see and could be used as a reference. Original version ******* Misty Rain, who was about to bring Night Sorrow's children and disciples to the teleportation array, stopped. It's not a group battle. There is no danger. You should also watch such a battle. See how experts fight. It was rare to see a battle between experts. Misty Rain also hoped that the children could increase their knowledge. If it was when the Realm War had just started, Night Sorrow might not be Lai Bing's opponent. However, it was different now. Night Sorrow's cultivation increased by the Haotian Godly Pagoda. He rushed from middle-class monarch to high-class monarch. This was only an increase in realm. In terms of actual fighting strength, Night Sorrow had also increased a lot. His body was strengthened by the White Tiger's blood essence and kept up with the myriad Tao Tome's cultivation realm. His body was at high-class monarch. The increase in soul spirit power was even greater. Night Sorrow had refined 3 drops of soul cultivation liquid and was now in the process of refining the 4th drop. 3 drops of soul cultivation liquid was the limit for ordinary monarchs. However, Night Sorrow's situation was special. He cultivated the myriad Tao Tome. His divine sea was 1/3 larger than ordinary cultivators. With a larger capacity, there was more room for improvement. The 2 basic attributes of a cultivator were the body and the soul spirit. Night Sorrow had reached the level of ordinary monarchs. Even heaven monarchs could not reach these 2 attributes. Therefore, his actual fighting strength could no longer be measured by his current realm. Night Sorrow and Lai Bing were fighting in the air. The energy sputtered in all directions. Spatial cracks and spatial vortexes constantly appeared. Because of Night Sorrow's special void attribute, the sputtering energy disappeared around him but could not hurt him. Do you see? This is your father and master. As a monarch, killing a heaven monarch is as easy as flipping one's hand. Even when fighting a half-step monarch, they are not at a disadvantage. This is an unprecedented and splendid battle record. Misty Rain lamented. Right now, she was not worried but lamenting. If she was in the market, she would be instantly defeated and killed. She did not have the ability to fight at all. Father, don't you have powerful battle clones? Why don't you use them? Yi Qingyan asked, puzzled. It's unwise to use all our trump cards when we don't know how strong our opponent is. Moreover, our opponent has a half-step martial monarch. It's better to stabilize the situation first and seek victory later, said Heavenly Monarch Yufei. On the battlefield, Night Sorrow didn't use any of his ultimate moves. He wasn't afraid of exhausting his energy. Although his opponent's energy was much denser than his, he had secretive true body. He wouldn't waste a single bit of energy in battle. Not being able to take down Night Sorrow, Lai Bing was a little angry. He was the strongest expert in the Devil Blood Weave's 3 great worlds besides the chief, the Magic Dragon General. Now, he was evenly matched with a monarch. How could he endure this? Moreover, both armies and tens of thousands of Devil Blood Weave soldiers were watching. Lai Bing's body trembled as his clones appeared. Both the original body and the clone held a halberd and surrounded Night Sorrow to attack. Is this why you have the confidence to boast so shamelessly? You have battle clones. Do you think others don't have battle clones? Night Sorrow's body shook as his clone appeared as well. After using the battle doppelganger, Yi Shang also used the afterimage body. Both his true body and doppelganger had used the afterimage body. Amidst the countless afterimages, Yi Shang's true body and doppelganger rushed towards Lai Bing's doppelganger. He realized that the gap between Lai Bing's doppelganger and his true body was not small. If he could defeat Lai Bing's doppelganger with his full strength, it would be a great victory. Speak. The 5th update has arrived. Today's update has been completed. Thank you, brother, for your support. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for your support. Chapter 1476. Night Sorrow and his doppelganger used residual shadow at the same time, which stunned Lai Bing. He didn't know which one to attack. Night Sorrow's residual shadow was formed by the combination of soul energy and genuine qi. It was hard to tell the real one from the fake. When Lai Bing decided to use a wide-range attack, Night Sorrow and his doppelganger used their unique skills at the same time. First, 2 space cracks appeared, separating Lai Bing from his doppelganger. Then they used Soul Destruction Slash at the same time, and the crescent blade formed by soul energy attacked Lai Bing's doppelganger. After the soul attack, Night Sorrow used Emperor Reincarnation Slash and Death Destruction Slash to attack Lai Bing's doppelganger. Yi Shang didn't make a move, but once he did, it was a thunderous attack. Although he didn't know if he could seriously injure Lai Bing, Yi Shang didn't want to let go of even the slightest chance. Once Lai Bing's doppelganger was killed, the situation of the battle would be changed. If something happened to Lai Bing's doppelganger, then there would only be 3 of them left. Lai Bing could fight against 2 of them, and the Master of Wu Ling Mountain and Lord of Heaven Shinhu could fight against 1 of them together. 2 black space cracks appeared between Lai Bing and his doppelganger. Then the black halo of Death Destruction Slash and the purple halo of Emperor Reincarnation Slash fell on Lai Bing's doppelganger one after another. Q update: our most fast P black light appeared on Lai Bing's doppelganger, and then it gathered on his head. It collided with the soul attack of Death Destruction Slash and was annihilated together. Then the purple halo of Night Sorrow's Emperor Reincarnation Slash fell on his head. The black halo appeared on Lai Bing again, and then it gathered on his head to fend off Night Sorrow's soul attack. The black halo blocked the halo of Emperor Reincarnation Slash, but Night Sorrow's crescent blade of Soul Destruction Slash also penetrated his spirit sea. Then another crescent blade broke the black halo and entered his spirit sea, slashing inside. Lai Bing's doppelganger was trapped in a soul defense battle, and his body couldn't attack or defend. Sky-shaking roar. Lai Bing knew his doppelganger's situation, so he shouted anxiously. This wasn't an ordinary roar. It was the heaven-shaking roar. In the Devil Blood domain, the sky-shaking roar of the sky-shaking roar was famous. Even the king would be shocked out of his wits by this roar, and even the monarchs would be severely injured. It was just a roar, and the attack that followed after that roar was very difficult to defend against. The shockwave caused by the roar rushed towards Night Sorrow, his doppelganger, and all his afterimages. Night Sorrow's afterimages couldn't withstand the shockwave and were instantly destroyed. After the roar shattered Night Sorrow's afterimage, the sound wave continued to move forward. Its target was Night Sorrow's original body and doppelganger. Suppress. Night Sorrow's original body's protective magic treasure, the Haotian Godly Pagoda, appeared in front of his doppelganger. His original body activated the 9-region origin bead to protect his spirit sea, and then continued to attack Lai Bing's doppelganger. This defense was because Night Sorrow found that the sky-shaking roar was both a soul and a physical attack. Putting aside the physical defense, Night Sorrow's original body and doppelganger's physical defense were similar. However, there was a difference in soul defense. His original body had the 9-region origin beads defense, while his doppelganger's soul defense was weaker. The Haotian Godly Pagoda could block all attacks. After blocking Lai Bing's original body's ultimate skill, Night Sorrow's original body used the Void Extreme Point Kill. The Samsara pierced into Lai Bing's doppelganger's body, and then it vibrated with energy. Pale purple light spots exploded in Lai Bing's body, directly annihilating a hole in his chest. At the same time, the Samsara soul attack energy also rushed into Lai Bing's doppelganger's soul. Go to hell! When Lai Bing's doppelganger was seriously injured and could not move or resist, Night Sorrow's doppelganger rushed over. The Space Splitter pierced through the doppelganger's head through his temple. However, Lai Bing's original body arrived at this time, and his halberd pierced through Night Sorrow's doppelganger's chest. The Void Extreme Point Kill, Night Sorrow's original body's Samsara, directly rushed towards Lai Bing's original body. Feeling the strong aura of Night Sorrow's Samsara, Lai Bing felt that he could not continue to hurt Night Sorrow's doppelganger, so he pulled out his halberd and blocked the Night Sorrow's Samsara. At this time, Night Sorrow's doppelganger continued to rush forward. Then, the Dragon Cauldron appeared, and the lifeless doppelganger was sucked into the Dragon Cauldron. At this time, Night Sorrow's doppelganger's chest had a bloody hole. However, it was not a big problem. To others, it might be a serious injury, but to Night Sorrow, it was only an external injury. Father. Father is injured. Yi Qingyan, who was watching the battle, was somewhat excited. Don't worry. Your father's aura and vigor are not weakened, which means it is not serious. He is not fundamentally injured. Misty Rain pressed Yi Qingyan's shoulder. Come on. You can play however you want. After killing Lai Bing's doppelganger, Night Sorrow's original body began to defend. To put it bluntly, he was trying to delay. Lai Bing's aura became weaker. His doppelganger was destroyed, and his original body's soul was severely injured. Today I was ambushed by you. I will kill you another day. Lai Bing's body flashed and rushed towards the camp of the Devil Blood Boundary Army. At this time, Night Sorrow's doppelganger had arrived. Night Sorrow's original body and doppelganger were fighting against him together. Even if he could hold on, he would not be able to do anything. Night Sorrow did not chase after him. There was no possibility of killing Lai Bing's original body, so it was meaningless to continue. Those who provoke me will be killed by me. As long as I am alive, I will be your nightmare. Night Sorrow waved his right hand, and Samsara fell into the trap on his back. Then, his original body and doppelganger merged together and flew back to the camp of the Black-Yellow Great World. How is it? Datura stood beside Night Sorrow. I need to deal with it. This amount of time is not a problem, Night Sorrow said in a low voice. In fact, Lai Bing's halberd had pierced through Night Sorrow's doppelganger. Night Sorrow's doppelganger was also greatly injured. Now, Night Sorrow was using the underworld stone to suppress it, so he could not perform the great death-shattering cut. Okay. Datura nodded. She was not afraid of Night Sorrow getting hurt. As long as he did not die and did not affect his future, it was fine. Who has a sealed soul crystal ball? Night Sorrow looked at the group of Lords of Heaven. What do you mean? Qing Emperor looked at Night Sorrow and asked. That guy's soul power has been confined by my space magic treasure. It is still being suppressed. I plan to imprison him, Night Sorrow said. Master has it. Here are 2. Take them. Qing Emperor took out 2 soul crystal balls and handed them to Night Sorrow. After putting away the soul crystal balls, Night Sorrow cupped his hands toward the group of Lords of Heaven and then returned to his tent. After entering the tent, Night Sorrow made the dragon cauldron appear. After entering, he sealed the soul of Lai Bing's doppelganger into the soul crystal ball. Lai Bing's soul power was suppressed by the dragon cauldron and could not resist. Night Sorrow handed the crystal ball that sealed Lai Bing's soul power to Datura. Aluo, see how to deal with it so that it can keep hurting him. I have a way. How about your doppelganger? Can he still participate in the battle? Datura asked. Speak. First watch. Chapter 1477. Yes. My doppelganger is currently healing in the Haotian Godly Pagoda. Without the Underworld Stone it would be very troublesome. Now, I am using the Underworld Stone to suppress and refine the qi of death left in Lai Bing's body. It is not very difficult. Yi Shan opened his mouth and said, Father, are you okay? Yi Qingyan and Yi Yujun entered the tent. Yi Qingyan went to Night Sorrow's side. I'm fine. You must be careful. Only then can I have nothing to worry about. Night Sorrow patted his daughter's shoulder and said, Night Sorrow, you have achieved great results this time. It is equivalent to giving the enemy a heavy blow. Qing Emperor also came to Night Sorrow's tent. Lucky. I was really lucky this time. The enemy underestimated me. If he started to use the sound wave unique skill with his doppelganger, I would be in a passive position. I would not have the chance to expand my victory at all, Night Sorrow said. Grasping opportunities is an ability. Grasping opportunities is also an ability. Night Sorrow, this is the Troubled Times Tree Spirit Sap that can restore your body. Give it a try. Tang Jianfeng took out 2 jade bottles and placed them on the table beside Night Sorrow. Thank you, City Lord Tang. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Tang Jianfeng. Don't say that. The crisis of the Xuanhuan Great World is all on you. In fact, helping is a favor. Not helping is my duty. I know it very well. Tang Jianfeng sighed. It was mainly because he felt too powerless. He was a lord of heaven, but he had almost no influence on the battle. After chatting with Knight Sorrow and Qing Emperor for a while, Tang Jianfeng left. He still had a lot of things to arrange. The direction of the battle was not easy to predict. Thus, Tang Jianfeng had to make some arrangements. At present, the group of Lords of Heaven had discussed two strategies. One was Knight Sorrow. If he could hold off the two half-step monarchs, the situation could be stabilized. The other situation was that if Knight Sorrow could not hold on, they would have to retreat. They would use a war of attrition and a protracted war to exhaust the enemy. No matter what, they could not lose too many people. If they wanted to retreat without suffering any losses, they would have to set up some formations to block the enemy's attacks. Those who stayed behind would have time to retreat. Knight Sorrow's doppelganger was using the underworld stone to heal himself in the time-accelerated space of the Haotian Divine Pagoda. His original body was talking to his master, his wife, and his children. Knight Sorrow, don't treat the Troubled Times Tree Spirit Elixir lightly. It's a diluted treasure that has a strong healing effect on the body. If you're injured, just 2 drops will quickly heal you. Qing Emperor reminded Knight Sorrow. When he saw Knight Sorrow casually put away the Troubled Times Tree Spirit fluid that Tang Jianfeng had left behind, he didn't pay much attention to it. So that's how it is. Then we have to take this seriously. Good steel should be used on the edge of a blade. Only use it when you're injured in battle. Right now, my clone won't have a problem recovering, so there's no need for top-grade resources, Knight Sorrow said. Okay, be careful, Qing Emperor reminded Knight Sorrow. After Qing Emperor left, Knight Sorrow looked at his children and said, "You two are so troublesome. It's useless to chase you away. You promised your father that you'd stay with your Aunt Aluo. When she goes out to battle, you have to leave." "Thank you, father." Yi Qingyan sat down beside Knight Sorrow and hugged her father's arm. "I really don't know what to do with you two," Knight Sorrow said with a smile. "Wherever father is, it's the safest place in the world. Father, you're so impressive today. Kaka. Let's kill whoever boasted." Yi Qingyan waved her right hand and made a killing gesture. Strength is fundamental, but there are many factors that determine victory and defeat. You two should take a look. Here are the transmission array discs, illusion array discs, and killing array discs. Father will set up a temporary transmission point later. If the situation doesn't look good, use the illusion array discs and killing array discs first, then activate the transmission array discs and leave. Knight Sorrow took out a few array discs and a transmission crystal. He cut it and inlaid the transmission array discs, then handed them to Yi Qingyan and Yi Yujun. "Your father has thought of everything for you too, so you have to pay attention to your safety," Datura said. "Understood, Aunt." Yi Qingyan and Yi Yujun nodded. They understood their father and knew what was most important to him. "Aluo, take these array discs to Ningyun and Chiue. They can't let anything happen to them." Knight Sorrow gave a few array discs to Datura, then got up and left the tent. He had given his children and disciples the transmission array discs, so there should be a corresponding transmission array. Knight Sorrow didn't want to see any accidents happen to the safety of his children and disciples. It was not difficult for Knight Sorrow to fly 500,000 kilometers to set up a teleportation array and come back. It only took him a little time to do it. When Knight Sorrow returned, only Datura was left in the tent. "Arrow, I still have the remains of Lai Bing's doppelganger. What should we do with it?" Knight Sorrow asked. He knew that he was not as experienced as Datura. The skeleton of a half-step emperor is extremely valuable, but it also depends on who has it. If it is in the hands of the celestial sect, then it would be an extremely powerful battle puppet. However, we don't have any means to use it here yet. "We can use the skeleton of his doppelganger to attack his true body," Datura said. "This is a war, and the outcome of the war is victory or defeat. If it were just me alone, I wouldn't use any other methods. But now that millions of living beings are involved, I can't care so much," Knight Sorrow said. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation, you made the right decision. They were the ones who started the war. The cultivators who are half a step away from the Imperial realm are already unscrupulous in attacking you. Since that's the case, There's no need for us to be polite. Give me the skeleton and I'll throw it into the dark abyss to feed the evil spirits. The evil spirits will affect me greatly, said Mandela. Then you do it. Knight Sorrow threw the remains of Lai Bing's doppelganger to Datura Datura. Datura Datura took the remains of Lai Bing and left through the teleportation array. After returning to the dark abyss in the reincarnation world, Datura Datura threw the remains of Lai Bing's doppelganger into the group of evil spirits in the dark abyss. After solving the problem of the remains of Lai Bing's doppelganger, Datura Datura reached out his right hand and captured the king of evil spirits. Then, he imprisoned it in the crystal ball that trapped the soul of Lai Bing's doppelganger. In the big tent in the Devil Blood Chi, Lai Bing, who was meditating, stood up. At the same time, he destroyed everything in front of him with a palm strike. At this moment, his soul was in pain. He was enduring the pain of his soul being gnawed. Damn it! What did they do to my doppelganger's soul power? Lai Bing was going crazy. He knew that he was being attacked. His doppelganger's soul was being attacked, and his body was in unbearable pain. Xie Bing came to Lai Bing's tent. Senior brother, what happened? Junior brother, this time I failed miserably. Not only did my doppelganger die, but now the enemy is attacking my doppelganger's remains and soul. If I don't solve this problem, it will be a big problem. Let alone my future achievements, I don't even know if I can survive. Lai Bing understood the seriousness of the problem. Say second update. Thank you for unlocking yesterday's chapter. Chapter 1480. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? I'll bring you an exciting novel to read. Knight Sorrow saw the destruction of a spatial world. It was a scene of destruction when one's lifespan was exhausted. First the land, sea and space in the spatial world all cracked. Then, the spatial world was compressed toward the center. Then, there was a violent explosion. The huge spatial world collapsed instantly. Mountains, rivers, and everything turned into nothingness. The spatial origin couldn't withstand it and was annihilated into nothingness. The collapse of the spatial world gave Knight Sorrow some inspiration. All along, Knight Sorrow's forte in the Void attribute was the Void Extreme Point Kill. It was also the starting point for him to comprehend the rules and willpower. That was the starting point. What Knight Sorrow needed now was the ending point. At this moment, Knight Sorrow saw the ending point. The 10,000 creations' ultimate destruction was a perfect cycle. It was a completely different feeling. The Void Extreme Point Kill used a point to erupt and radiate in all directions. What was displayed in front of Knight Sorrow now? It was the great annihilation where everything returned to the origin to the extreme. With this realization, Knight Sorrow's original body and doppelganger instantly switched positions. The original body entered the Haotian godly pagoda to organize what he had just learned. The doppelganger appeared in front of everyone to suppress the current situation. The original body went to comprehend while Knight Sorrow's doppelganger waved his arm. What's wrong? Datura Datura, who took time to go back to the city in the sky to see his son, came back. Opportunity. I found an opportunity. Knight Sorrow grabbed Datura Datura's shoulders with both hands and said excitedly. What? You just became a peak monarch not long ago, and you found an opportunity? You're not lying to me? Datura Datura was also a little excited. A monarch and a heaven monarch were completely different concepts. Knight Sorrow's peak monarch could fight against a half-step imperial realm cultivator. He could even kill one, but it was still a little difficult. Because his own level was not high enough and his realm was not high enough. He could only rely on his battle techniques and the Void attribute to suppress his opponent. However, when he reached the Heaven Monarch realm, it was different. It was a perfect ending for a Tier 8 expert. I'm not lying to you. It was really a coincidence. When the Nine Zones world was moving, I used the perspective of the Nine Zones world origin to see the great destruction of a space world. I have the starting point of the nihility will, but what I lack is the end. The great destruction is the end, Knight Sorrow said. If that's all right, then I'll be waiting to congratulate you. Datura Datura was extremely happy. No matter how strong a woman was, she still wanted to see her man achieve something. If everything goes well, there won't be a problem. I need to prepare for my tribulation, said Knight Sorrow. Tribulation? You idiot! The Heaven Monarch realm is a perfected realm. It is not a new realm. There is no thunder tribulation. Only when one enters the king realm and the arch realm will there be thunder tribulation. Datura said with a smile. She found it strange. Knight Sorrow, who had some knowledge and some things at an idiot level, had cultivated to this realm in less than 200 years. It was simply unimaginable. I am an idiot, but my wife is not an idiot. I don't need to worry about anything, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Great wisdom can be foolish. That's right for people like you. Simple, but perfect. Datura took out a bottle of wine and poured 2 cups for himself and Knight Sorrow. Father, Auntie, your little life is really good. Yi Qingyan entered the tent. You naughty child. You say everything. Datura glared at Yi Qingyan. Auntie, I was wrong. Father, are you in a good mood? Yi Qingyan looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. Not bad. You and Lord Feather have made good progress recently. Knight Sorrow nodded at his daughter. Knight Sorrow did not tell his daughter about himself. He did not want to affect her life. The original body was comprehending the last bit of will in the Haotian godly pagoda. Knight Sorrow began to study new combat skills. He had developed the Void Extreme Kill in the past. Now that he had a new understanding, he could study combat skills. When Knight Sorrow was studying combat skills every day, a big figure came to the Demon Blood World. It was the High Priest of the Demon Blood World. Although he was a Heaven Monarch, his status in the Demon Blood World was very high. Even the leader Demon Blood General respected him greatly. He had many means to solve problems that could not be solved by force. Khufu's figure was a little weak. He looked like a scholar. His face was pale and his breath was pale. Xie Bing brought him to Lai Bing's tent. Seeing Lai Bing's weak state, Khufu shook his head and said, Lai Bing, you have been greatly affected. Lai Bing stood up and said, High Priest, I wasn't careful enough this time and fell into the enemy's trap. Now, the enemy is using my doppelganger's soul force and bones to continuously attack the main body. I can't stand it anymore. Then Khufu asked about the situation. He checked Lai Bing and said, The situation is not good. If you can't get back your doppelganger's soul power and skeleton through negotiation, you have to destroy them. If this continues, you will feel fear in your heart and your Dao heart will collapse. Negotiation won't work. I went to talk to them. They didn't want to talk at all. Xie Bing said helplessly. Then you have to think about why they don't want to talk. There is nothing in this world that can't be talked about. The key is to grasp the key point. Why don't they want to talk? It's because your existence is a threat. As long as it's not a threat and you pay the price, there is nothing that can't be talked about. Khufu said. Indeed, they don't want to return Senior Brother's avatar soul power and skeleton because they're worried that we'll attack Senior Brother after he recovers. If we promise Senior Brother that we won't participate in this war and pay a price, they'll negotiate with us, Khufu said. Xie Bing understood the key point. No. We all know the strength of that Knight Sorrow. If I withdraw from this war, it will be difficult for you to win. High Priest, please use a secret technique to destroy my doppelganger's soul and skeleton. This way, I can continue to fight after I recover. The Devil Blood Domain must win this war. Lai Bing said. If that's the case, Lai Bing, you can't withdraw from the war. Then we can talk about a time limit. After you get back your doppelganger's soul and skeleton, you have to promise not to participate in this war for a few years. It's best if we don't destroy your doppelganger's soul and skeleton. Khufu said. Then let's talk tomorrow. Xie Bing thought for a while and said. He naturally didn't want Lai Bing to suffer heavy losses. Forever X-Free / #read PQ novels. Knight Sorrow was still cultivating his ultimate skill called the Nihility Returns to Origin Kill. The Nihility Extremity Kill used a single point to destroy everything. The Nihility Returns to Origin Kill was the exact opposite. It gathered a large amount of Nihility energy at a single point before exploding and collapsing. The power was equally astonishing. Seeing Knight Sorrow's new combat skill taking shape, Datura knew that Knight Sorrow wouldn't be obstructed from entering the Heaven Monarch realm. Once the new combat skill was completed, the last bit of willpower wouldn't be a problem. Chapter 1481. Genius 1 second. Remember love go / little? I'll bring you a wonderful novel to read. Seeing the enemy's troops appear, Knight Sorrow carried Lai Kong to the front of the formation. Is there a change of people this time? Knight Sorrow asked. He could see that the other side had no intention of fighting. If they wanted to fight, they wouldn't have sent 2 people. Young man, we can talk, said Khufu. Is there a need to talk? Knight Sorrow looked at Khufu. Talking is one thing. Success or failure is another. It mainly depends on sincerity and the price. If the price is high enough, then the negotiation will be successful, said Khufu with a smile. I want Lai Bing to lose his ability to fight. I want him to live a life worse than death. What price can you pay to get him back? I don't think so, said Knight Sorrow with a smile. You don't want Lai Bing to lose his ability to fight because he threatens the safety of the Chaos Realm. But have you thought about it? With your current methods, losing his ability to fight is only temporary. I'm here to solve this problem. You don't have to doubt that I can solve it. The drawback is that Lai Bing needs time to recover. I'm here to talk to you. During this time, Lai Bing won't fight. You can name the price, said Khufu. How long will it take? Knight Sorrow thought for a moment and asked. 3 years. After 3 years, you can do whatever you want, said Khufu. It's not impossible for him to not fight for 3 years, but the price. Are you prepared to pay a big price? Asked Knight Sorrow. There's nothing to be prepared for. We have to talk until both sides agree, said Khufu with a smile. I originally wanted to torture him to death. If you're willing to pay a big price to get him back, it's not impossible. 3 years, right? 1 million Saint Spirit Stones a year. Don't haggle. I don't really want to talk about it. Knight Sorrow said. Then let's go back and discuss it. Khufu cupped his hands towards Knight Sorrow. He could see that there was no point in negotiating because Knight Sorrow wouldn't make any concessions. After seeing Khufu and Xiabing leave, Knight Sorrow turned around and returned to the United Army camp. Tang Jianfeng and Qing Emperor followed closely behind and also went to Knight Sorrow's tent because they were very anxious. Knight Sorrow, this isn't a good idea. If that guy recovers, we won't be able to hold on. No amount of Saint Spirit Stones will be of any use. Tang Jianfeng's face was filled with anxiety. Yeah, Knight Sorrow, what do you think this time? Qing Emperor asked. He needs 3 years, but I don't. Maybe a year, maybe half a year, maybe even less, and I can completely suppress them, Knight Sorrow said. What do you mean? Why don't I understand? Tang Jianfeng was confused. Knight Sorrow found an opportunity to break through. His original body is in seclusion, and it's only a matter of time before he breaks through to the Heavenly Monarch realm. Dachura waved his hand and said after setting up a barrier. That person is only a Heavenly Monarch, but his aura is strange. It's similar to Uncle Xian Darozi. I think he does have a way to solve Lai Bing's problem. If that's the case, it's best to get some resources. He won't fight for 3 years, and that's what I want, Knight Sorrow said. Sorry. I misunderstood you. Then let's do it this way. 3 million Saint Spirit Stones. No matter how rich the Devil Blood Domain is, they will lose a lot of money, Tang Jianfeng said. He was in a good mood because he saw hope. There was a difference between a sovereign realm and a heavenly monarch realm. Knight Sorrow was a sovereign realm now, but everyone had seen his combat strength. Once he entered the heavenly monarch realm, his strength would increase tremendously. The opponent's half-step sovereign realm would no longer be a threat. Very good. Master is waiting to celebrate for you and for myself. Brother Tang, if both of my disciples enter the heavenly monarch realm, I, as a master, will be unprecedented. Qing Emperor said with a smile. He was also very happy. That goes without saying. Knight Sorrow, we won't disturb you anymore. Let's go for a drink. Tang Jianfeng pulled Qing Emperor out of Knight Sorrow's tent. Knight Sorrow and Dachura chatted casually. He was very relaxed now. He was very confident that as long as he reached the heavenly monarch realm, he would be able to solve this crisis. Lai Bing needed 3 years, and in reality, 3 years was enough for Knight Sorrow to cultivate in the Haotian Divine Pagoda for 150 years. At this time, in the big tent in the Devil Blood Chi, Khufu, Lai Bing, and Xiabing were also talking. 3 million. He must be crazy. What does he think it is? A stone? Lai Bing was furious when he heard that Knight Sorrow wanted 3 million Saint Spirit Stones. He only had a little more than 1 million Saint Spirit Stones in his collection. He couldn't afford 3 million Saint Spirit Stones from Night Sorrow. Lai Bing, have you thought about it? As long as you are fine, why would you care about the Saint Spirit Stones? As long as we take over the Chaos Realm, they won't spit out the 3 million Saint Spirit Stones. Khufu looked at Lai Bing and reminded him. That's right. As long as we can take over the Chaos Realm, not to mention spitting out the 3 million Saint Spirit Stones, we can even plunder a few million Saint Spirit Stones. I can gather 1 million Saint Spirit Stones, Xiaobing said. Then I will make the decision to transfer 1 million Saint Spirit Stones from our Devil Blood City's City Lord Mansion. However, you have to pay it back as soon as possible, Khufu said. Thank you, High Priest. Lai Bing nodded at Khufu. I can help you destroy the soul and body of your doppelganger, but you will suffer a great loss and your origin will be damaged. It's best if you can get it back. Then you have to find a way to gather 2 million Saint Spirit Stones. I will go back and get 1 million for you. We have to be fast. Don't let that guy change his mind. Anything can happen before we reach a deal. He is young and inexperienced, but there are still some old guys. After reminding Lai Bing and Xia Bing, Khufu left to help gather the Saint Spirit Stones. Night Sorrow had been studying the void returning to Origin Kill. In addition, he was also trying to combine the Extreme Point Kill and the Returning to Origin Kill. One was to break the surface, while the other was to combine the 4 sides. They were 2 completely different extremes. If they could complement and multiply each other, the power would be great. After practicing the Dharma body, Night Sorrow had breakfast with Datura and his children in the morning. They mainly chatted. Night Sorrow also asked about his children's practice. At this time, Yi Qingyan and Yi Yujun were both at the peak of the Saint Realm. In addition to practicing fighting skills, they also needed to enter the Return to Origin Realm. At this time, Xia Bing and Khufu appeared. They had spent a lot of time to gather enough Saint Spirit Stones. Now, they planned to trade with Night Sorrow. They were afraid that a long delay might lead to trouble. Night Sorrow rode the Ice Qilin to the front of the battlefield. 3 million Saint Spirit Stones are here. As long as you return the soul and body of my senior brother's doppelganger, it will be yours. Xia Bing showed the storage ring in his hand. Square root head equals hair. You are really rich. It seems that I asked for too little. But it's okay. Tell Lai Bing to come out. Some things need to be solved by the person involved. Aluo, go and bring that skeleton here. Night Sorrow turned around and shouted at Datura. Chapter 1484. I called all of you here today because I wanted to gather as a family and also to celebrate your father and master. Come, little Luo, congratulate your father for entering the Heaven Monarch realm. Mandela poured a cup of wine and handed it to her son. Hearing Datura's words, everyone in the tent was pleasantly surprised. They couldn't help but stand up. Everyone, sit down. We're all family. Make yourselves at home. Night Sorrow waved his hand for everyone to sit down. Xiao Luo, congratulations on reaching the Heavenly Monarch realm. Yi Xiaoluo's voice was filled with childishness. All right, you rascal. I was going to teach you a lesson. You're so disobedient. I'll let you off today. Night Sorrow took the wine cup from Yi Xiaoluo's hand and drank it in one gulp. Xiao Luo, be obedient in the future. Yi Xiaoluo nodded. Night Sorrow didn't scold or be fierce. In the eyes of his children, he was the most important person. His words were the rules. The 4 of you have cultivated well. Your foundations are very stable. Remember, good preparation is the way of the king. Night Sorrow looked at Yi Qingyan and the others and said. While they were talking, Night Sorrow felt that something was wrong with his main body. Luo, I have something urgent to do. Stay with the children. After speaking, Night Sorrow's clone went to the side to meditate. After his main body appeared, he took the Haotian godly pagoda and left the camp. Qingyan, protect father. If anything happens, call Grandmaster or Martial Uncle. At this moment, Datura also realized that something was wrong. Night Sorrow's clone had turned green. She then chased after Night Sorrow's main body and left the camp. When they reached a desolate area, Yi Shang stopped and turned his head to look at Mandela, who had caught up to him. Protect me. Although there is no lightning tribulation, Other tribulations are coming. At this moment, Night Sorrow's body was covered in green. It wanted to suck everything out of Night Sorrow's body. Seeing Night Sorrow meditating, Datura's eyes were filled with worry. She understood what was going on. She had never seen the legendary tribulation of wind and fire, but there were records in the ancient books. What appeared on Night Sorrow's face was the sign of a tribulation of wind. Night Sorrow operated his leakless true body to the extreme, resisting the wind energy that came from outside his body. At this moment, the wind energy that wrapped around him was about to drill into his body and extract the energy and life energy in his body. Datura held her hollowed-out blade and stared at everything, protecting Night Sorrow. As for Night Sorrow's doppelganger, she wasn't worried because it was a subsidiary. Everything was a reflection of the main body. If the main body could withstand it, then the doppelganger would be fine. The pressure was great. Even with his leakless true body, Night Sorrow still felt a lot of pressure. He then released his nihility will to resist the wind will. The perfect will of nothingness burst forth, and with the power of will, the pressure from the wind calamity was cancelled out, which lessened the pressure on Night Sorrow. He could sense that this was an extreme wind. If it drilled into his body, its destructive power would be terrifying. Night Sorrow resisted with all his strength. The wind tribulation's energy revolved around Night Sorrow's body. Datura kept watching. The current situation was very grim. The wind tribulation's power was too great, and she couldn't even get close. Within Night Sorrow's tent, Sandalwood had arrived. She had been invited by Night Sorrow. Yu and Shitai had also arrived. They had come to chat with Night Sorrow when they encountered this. Why is the wind tribulation of wind and fire so strong? Shitai was puzzled. You know. Sandalwood looked at the two of them. Yes. When we came out of the Ice Dragon realm, we experienced wind tribulation and fire tribulation, but they weren't this strong. They weren't even half as strong as this one. If it's this strong, we'll die, said Yu. Junior apprentice brother's situation is a bit special. Fortunately, his defenses are stable, said Sandalwood as she looked at Night Sorrow's clone. Night Sorrow was doing his best to resist the wind tribulation's invasion. With the leakless true body protecting him, the nihility will, space-time will, nihility will, nihility will, nihility will, space will, nihility will, time will, and space will to protect him, weakening the wind tribulation's power. At this moment, Qing Emperor and Misty Rain also sensed the disturbance. What's going on? Qing Emperor entered Night Sorrow's tent and looked at Night Sorrow's clone. Auntie called us to celebrate with Father. We had just sat down when something happened to Father. Yi Qingyan's face was filled with anxiety. He's entered the heavenly monarch realm. But even so, he shouldn't have such a tribulation. Legend has it that the wind tribulation and fire tribulation only appears when one reaches the 9th rank, said Misty Rain. That's not important. Guard this place first. Fei Xiao, inform City Lord Tang, Wu Ling Mountain Master, and the others to prepare for battle, said Qing Emperor to Fei Xiao, who was outside the tent. He was worried that Xie Bing and the others would launch an attack after discovering the situation. However, the main tents of the United Forces camp all had illusory formations. Time passed bit by bit. Night Sorrow's condition was very stable because he could prevent the wind tribulation's energy from entering his body. Seeing that Night Sorrow was stable, Datura also felt at ease. In the past countless years, she had never worried about anyone or been afraid of anything. But now, she was really worried because she cared about Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was her husband and the father of her son. The scion-like wind energy carried the momentum of heaven and earth and kept sweeping toward Night Sorrow, but it didn't seem to have any effect. Time passed in the confrontation. 1 day, 2 days, and on the morning of the 3rd day, the wind energy dissipated, but the scion energy was still there. The scion energy gathered together and turned into a very condensed milky white halo. This halo rushed toward Night Sorrow's head. Night Sorrow used his energy to defend himself, but in fact, it didn't work. This milky white halo directly entered Night Sorrow's spirit sea. Then, it spread out and merged with Night Sorrow's soul power. The Heavenly Way's reward. Night Sorrow understood that this was the Heavenly Way's reward for successfully passing the wind tribulation. The power of the tribulation was strong, but there was always a limit. Night Sorrow could withstand it, but the Heavenly Way's reward was different. It didn't hurt him and was given by the heavenly way. He couldn't refuse it. After feeling his body, Night Sorrow stood up. After standing up, Night Sorrow felt awkward for a moment. The robe on his body turned into nothingness. This was caused by the energy impact. Yong J Gio I Free 5 Fee Read You novel. After taking out a set of clothes and putting it on, Night Sorrow looked at Datura. Okay, the power of this wind tribulation is very strong, but I can still withstand it. It's okay now. Datura looked at Night Sorrow from head to toe. It's okay. I just ruined the celebration banquet you prepared for me. Night Sorrow stepped forward and held Datura's hand. At this time, Night Sorrow's clone also stood up. Master's wife. You are all here. You successfully broke through. Why didn't you tell us and let us celebrate? Qing Emperor looked at Night Sorrow with eyes full of praise. Night Sorrow's achievement made him very happy. The banquet isn't over yet. Let's continue. Junior brother, we must drink well today. Sandalwood said. Of course. Night Sorrow's main body entered the tent and merged with his clone. Chapter 1485. Haha, everyone is here. Night Sorrow's matter has troubled everyone. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at everyone. Then, everyone brought the banquet outside the tent. In addition, Qing Emperor, Tang Jianfeng, and Heaven Lord Shenwu ordered that the Alliance army would celebrate today. Of course, they didn't say the reason because it wasn't necessary. It was enough for the higher-ups to know the reason. Night Sorrow, you used to call me Uncle Tang, but you can't anymore. I toast you with this wine to thank you. Tang Jianfeng stood up and held the wine bowl. Heaven Lord had a high status. Unless it was a very close senior or junior, everyone else was treated as equals. It's not like that. I remember clearly that the first time I came to the Black-Yellow Great World, I wanted to visit Uncle Tang. During this time, we were fighting against the Devil Blood Domain. Before joining the camp, I called you City Lord Tang, Night Sorrow said. Haha, that's not important. The most important thing for me now is to feel comfortable. If they don't like it, they can fight again, Heaven Lord Shenhu said with a smile. Everyone was happy, so they drank more wine. Night Sorrow was in a good mood. After taking this step, his ability would be greatly improved and he would be able to solve some problems. After the banquet, Night Sorrow's original body went to the Haotian Godly Pagoda to understand and familiarize himself with the new realm. Since he had a new realm, he had to improve his combat strength. His doppelganger cultivated his combat skills in the illusion formation he had set up. After comprehending his willpower to perfection, Night Sorrow's attack power and unique skill power increased again. The Alliance army calmed down. The higher-ups were confident and their aura was different. Naturally, the soldiers felt the same. After cultivating for half a month, Night Sorrow's doppelganger took the 9 regions origin bead from his original body and told Datura about it. After arriving at the Black-Yellow City, he was teleported to the 9 regions world. At this moment, the 9 regions world had arrived at the predetermined area. Night Sorrow wanted to take a look. The 9 regions origin bead was with Night Sorrow and not in the world. The world origin bead's detection range was limited. After arriving at the 9 domain world, Night Sorrow first accompanied his parents and wife to chat for a while. After his family members went to cultivate, Night Sorrow sailed the boat alone in the large lake. The bright moon hung high in the sky. Night Sorrow could still remember the past. Back then, he had often come here to find the feeling of returning to his original self. Looking at the bright moon in the sky, Night Sorrow knew that it was the Xiaofan astral realm, which was above countless space worlds. The Xiaofan astral realm and the Sun astral realm were the 2 most special space worlds. They were the extremes of yin and yang. After drinking a jar of wine, Night Sorrow rested on the small boat. Just like a normal person, he lay on the deck chair, covered with a blanket, and enjoyed the night breeze. YXS initial 4D Senk. After dawn, Night Sorrow took the teleportation array to 9 Region City and then went to the Heaven Ceiling Great Hall. Night Sorrow did not get a title anymore. Back then, he had gotten the title of Endless Saint King. Later, because the 9 Regions world was not a high-level world, he could not continue to get the title of king, so he did not continue to care about it. The 9 Regions origin body seemed to know what Night Sorrow was thinking and gave him an answer. Night Sorrow, I can get the title of Immortal King for you now. However, it is meaningless. You have the potential to become immortal. The fact that you can fight a half-step emperor proves this point. The title of immortal is very domineering. Night Sorrow smiled and entered the heaven-sealing Great Hall. When he reached the top floor, he used his soul power to activate the 9 regions origin bead. Then let's start investigating. I'll use my soul power to help you, Night Sorrow said. The 9 regions origin body could investigate the surroundings on its own, but with Night Sorrow's help, the range would be even larger. You and the 9 regions world complement each other. I can protect your divine sea's soul, and you can also give the 9 regions world stability. Even if your lifespan reaches the end of the Great Calamity, the 9 regions world can still Wuxia. The 9 regions origin body floated out of the origin bead. You're not afraid of the Great Calamity? Night Sorrow looked at the 9 regions origin body with some surprise. Other spatial worlds might be afraid of the Great Calamity, but this body is not, because you are the host, said the 9 regions origin body. Then can't the other world origins recognize a master and find a host to avoid the Great Calamity? Night Sorrow asked. How could it be that easy? When a world is Great Calamity, the world's origin will violently tremble. Ordinary hosts will be shattered by the chaotic wills and laws. Only one kind of person can resist it. Only cultivators with supreme attributes can restrain and suppress the wills and laws brought about by the Great Calamity. Moreover, they must be a high-level king or above. Only such a will can resist the damage caused by the Great Calamity, said the 9 regions origin body. So that's how it is. Then I understand. After hearing the 9 regions origin body's explanation, Night Sorrow understood the principle. If you weren't the realm master of the 9 regions world, the other world origins would fight to recognize you as their master. You were born in the 9 regions world. This is a blessing for this body, as well as for the millions of life forms in the 9 regions world. The 9 regions world is a newborn world and is far from being destroyed. Of course, when that day comes, we can deal with it. We can transfer life forms to other worlds. After the world is destroyed, this body can create a new spatial world. At that time, we can return and start anew. The 9 regions origin body explained the future of the 9 regions world. I understand. Let's start investigating the surrounding situation. After saying that, Night Sorrow's spiritual force erupted and entered the 9 regions origin bead. At this time, no one could see that outside the 9 regions world's barrier, light waves of energy were radiating in all directions, radiating into the boundless chaotic space. The origin energy of a high-level world was extremely powerful. Now that Night Sorrow had activated the 9 regions origin bead and mobilized the entire world's origin energy, its probing power was extremely powerful. In 1 day, 2 days, the world's origin energy spread out without limit. 5 days later, the probing ended. Night Sorrow also drew a spatial world layout diagram. Night Sorrow and the 9 regions world's origin body looked at the layout diagram together and then circled it. The origin energy of these worlds is very powerful. When our world's origin energy probed over, it was directly repelled and scattered. I feel that the aura is even stronger than that of a great world. The 9 regions world's origin body pointed at the layout diagram and said, It's not a big problem. This time, we've probed a very large distance. These worlds are relatively far away. They are even in the periphery of the primal chaos realm. Night Sorrow said. This time, he and the 9 regions world's origin body had probed a very large area. Their world's origin energy had even gone beyond the primal chaos realm and probed the 3 great worlds. Because of Night Sorrow's aura, the origin energy of the 3 great worlds did not repel them. There's no problem with our current location. Even if there is a problem, the other 3 great worlds will bear the brunt of it. The 9 regions world's origin body said. All right. In the future, the 9 regions world will develop at full speed here. Even if there is a tribulation to become a great world, we will be able to resist it. The number of experts in the 9 regions world will also increase. No matter what pressure comes, there won't be a problem. Night Sorrow let out a breath. He was now very confident in facing everything. Chapter 1492. Senior, am I strong enough now? Knight Sorrow was pleasantly surprised when he heard what the original body of the Xuanhuan Great World had said. Sage, I'm the Merit Great Sage and a powerful Lord of Heaven with supreme attributes. You should be able to pass it, but you might encounter some trouble. These are all secrets. When an expert appears and has the chance to reach the Emperor realm, the three worlds' origins in the chaotic realm will tell them. Two powerful practitioners appeared in the Shenwu Great World and the Samsara Great World, but they didn't succeed and were forced to retreat. They chose other ways to leave the chaotic realm, but their current situation is unknown. The original body of the Xuanhuan Great World said, Human Sovereign and Blood Saber Sage. Knight Sorrow thought of them when he heard the two outstanding practitioners mentioned by the original body of the Xuanhuan Great World. It's them. They reached the peak of the Lord of Heaven, but they didn't comprehend the momentum. Although Sage didn't comprehend the momentum, his fighting intent is the prototype of the momentum. In addition, Sage's body is so strong that he can withstand some turbulent astral winds and even the wind and fire tribulations in the passage. The original body of the Xuanhuan Great World said, I heard that there was a practitioner who tried to break through to the 9th stage of the Emperor realm in the chaotic realm, but he died because he couldn't withstand the wind and fire tribulations. It doesn't seem to conform to the rules, Knight Sorrow said. I know about it. He was an evil practitioner who mainly cultivated doppelgangers. After his doppelgangers were completed, his original body self-destructed. Then his soul took over an unborn baby's body and continued to cultivate doppelgangers. He planned to merge with his doppelgangers and break through the critical point. It's true that he wanted to prove his Tao by strength, but what he did was not tolerated by the way of heaven, so he was destroyed. The Xuanhuan Great World explained the reason for the previous incident to Knight Sorrow. I see. Then I'll ask you a few more questions. What does it mean to prove one's Tao by strength? Knight Sorrow noticed the words, prove one's Tao by strength. Sage always grasps the key points. If you want to become an emperor, you must control the general trend of heaven and earth. The general trend of heaven and earth is the control of the Tao. There were generally two ways to grasp the Tao. The first way was to go with the flow, which was to slowly understand and control the rules, the will, and the momentum of the world. The other way was to break through with brute force, which was to prove one's Tao with strength. Using strength to prove one's Tao is to break through the rules and break through the critical point. In fact, the sage monarchs have these two kinds of potential. There's no need to talk about taking advantage of the situation, as the sage monarchs are walking on this path. When the sage monarchs refine their body, if the energy in their body can break through the rules and break the general trend, then they will reach the Emperor realm. The mysterious yellow origin body patiently explained to Knight Sorrow. So that's how it is. Junior will first go and settle the matters of the Devil Blood domain. When I return, I will slowly discuss the details with Senior. At that time, I hope Senior won't find it troublesome. Knight Sorrow stood up and said, All right, but wait a moment. I have something to give you, Sage. You should know that there is a heavenly law artifact in the Heaven and Earth Pavilion. Every time the Heaven and Earth Pavilion opens, many cultivators come for the heavenly law artifact. There is a heavenly law artifact in the Heaven and Earth Pavilion. The mysterious yellow Great World's origin body said. Didn't you say that as long as you pass through the Heaven and Earth Pavilion, there will always be a suitable heavenly law artifact? Why is there only one? Knight Sorrow asked. It's like this. The actual body of this heavenly law artifact is an inner armor called the mysterious yellow armor. Before it recognizes an owner, it can take any form. However, the strongest form is the armor. Not only can it protect the upper body, it can also protect the spirit sea. Now, I will give it to the sage monarchs. The mysterious yellow world's origin body took out a silver-white soft armor and placed it on the table in front of it. Is this appropriate? Knight Sorrow was stunned for a moment. The mysterious yellow armor will belong to the sage monarchs sooner or later. Last time, the sage monarchs did not take it and chose the heavenly law flower. However, the mysterious yellow armor has intersected with the mysterious yellow armor in fate. This time, the sage monarchs fought for the mysterious yellow great world and won the realm war. The mysterious yellow armor is most suitable for the sage monarchs. The mysterious yellow world's origin body pushed the mysterious yellow armor in front of Knight Sorrow. Senior, I still have some questions. What is the difference between a heavenly law artifact and an origin artifact? Knight Sorrow asked. He had always been confused about this question. Then, the mysterious yellow world's origin body explained the difference between a heavenly law artifact and an origin artifact to Night Sorrow. At the beginning of a world, a heavenly law artifact would be born in the most special area, where the will and law were the strongest and the spirit chi was the densest. The heavenly law artifact would be born and grow for a longer period of time. The older the world, the more mature the heavenly law artifact would be, and the more powerful it would be. Among the Chaos Realm, the reincarnation world had existed for the longest time. Therefore, the heavenly law artifact, the Haotian Godly Pagoda, nurtured by the reincarnation world, was the most powerful. The mysterious yellow armor of the mysterious yellow world was also very mature. Its defensive power was tyrannical. On the other hand, the heavenly law artifact born in the Shenwu Great World was discovered and taken away by Lord of Heaven Shenhu before it had matured. In comparison, it was the worst. The origin artifact was related to the origin of a world. It was the origin artifact that the origin artifact blessed the weapon or armor with the power of the origin. The origin artifact had its limitations. There was a certain difference between it and the heavenly law artifact. Of course, it also depended on which world the heavenly law artifact was born in and whether it was mature. The Haotian Godly Pagoda was born in the reincarnation world. The reincarnation world involved the ultimate meaning of life and death. It was the reincarnation between life and death. The space-time Tao it displayed was very strong. Therefore, the Haotian Godly Pagoda was strong in space-time. Cool K read HH novels for free forever. Do you understand now? The mysterious yellow world's origin body asked Night Sorrow. Junior understands. Night Sorrow nodded. After listening to the explanation of the mysterious yellow world's origin body, he understood. Then Night Sorrow took the mysterious yellow armor and left mysterious yellow city, returning to the Nine Regions world. Night Sorrow first placed the Haotian Godly Detective secondary body in the city in the sky, and told his parents and wife about it. At the same time, he put away the spatial treasure that could accelerate time by 5 times. Night Sorrow planned to give it to Nu Lin for the soldiers of the Nine Heavens Legion to use. After solving the problem of the Haotian Godly Pagoda's secondary body, Night Sorrow took out the mysterious yellow armor to recognize it as its master. After dripping blood on it and refining it with his soul power, Night Sorrow understood how powerful the mysterious yellow armor was. The mysterious yellow armor was a mature heavenly law artifact in the form of an inner armor. Not only could it protect the internal organs in Dantian, but it could also protect the spirit sea and soul. When cultivators above the king realm fought, they would usually attack the spirit sea and Dantian if they wanted to injure their opponent. The other parts were useless. So what if you chopped off a leg? The opponent would still fly away. The mysterious yellow armor was an inner armor. It was neither flashy nor flashy, but its defense was very comprehensive. Night Sorrow sensed that the mysterious yellow armor's defense had already surpassed the Haotian Godly Pagodas. It wasn't that the mysterious yellow armor was of a higher level than the Haotian Godly Pagoda. It was just that the two specialized in different areas. The Haotian Godly Pagoda leaned towards supporting cultivation and defense, while the mysterious yellow armor specialized in defense. That was why its defense was extremely tyrannical. Night Sorrow's main body's defense had never been a problem. With the Nine Regions origin bead protecting his spirit sea and the Haotian Godly Pagoda protecting his body, the defense was perfect. However, his avatar's defense was a bit lacking. In other words, Night Sorrow only had one set of defensive treasures. Chapter 1496. The leader of the Devil Blood region, the Magic Dragon General, was an evil dragon from a branch of the dragons. He called himself the Magic Dragon. His 2 disciples, Lai Bing and Xie Bing, led the army. He also had a daughter who had awakened her bloodline. She was the princess of the Devil Blood region, Dragon Lady. She knew the dragon language. The Magic Dragon General was a branch of the dragons, but his daughter had awakened a pure dragon bloodline. She had been a Lord of Heaven for a long time. She had been in seclusion for the past few years. She wanted to be half a step away from becoming an emperor. She was strong in combat, but her realm was not high enough. Tianlan used to be Dragon Lady's guard. He later joined the army. He felt that if he made a contribution, Dragon Lady might help him when she came out of seclusion and learned about his current situation. Tianlan, this matter depends on you. We can only solve this problem if the princess shows up, Tianzhu said. Knight Sorrow listened and knew that these blood-armored warriors were transformed by Xie Bing through special means. After Tianzhu and the other two returned to their respective positions to meditate, Knight Sorrow moved the Haotian godly pagoda slightly and left the area. After reaching the safe area, Knight Sorrow flashed out of the Haotian godly pagoda. Then, he brought Dachira out as well. You heard what they said, right? Their bodies have merged with something special. I can feel that it contains very strong energy. It is very violent. Their body's defense is also very strong. Knight Sorrow said. He had asked Little Kong to open up the isolation of the Haotian godly pagoda to Dachira. Therefore, Dachira knew about the conversation and situation of Tianzhu and the other two. However, he did not know as clearly as Knight Sorrow. They did use some tricks. Dachira nodded. The Mad Blood Evil Stone is something they merged with their bodies. I don't know what it is. Also, they mentioned a dragon lady princess. She should be a key figure, Knight Sorrow said. That's right. Those 3 heaven monarchs are Xie Bing's subordinates. They are counting on this dragon princess to solve their predicament. This means that this dragon princess's status is at least equal to Xie Bing and Lai Bing, or even higher. Dachira shared his analysis. Knight Sorrow nodded. He agreed with Dachira's analysis. Let's go to the other cities and investigate the situation. We'll investigate their civilization, strength, and organization structure, Knight Sorrow said. Dachira smiled. Once we pass through the other party's blockade, we'll just treat it as a vacation. However, it will be difficult to return. It's not difficult at all. The difficulty of our trip here is to enter. If we want to go back, we can just set up a teleportation array, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. I forgot about that. I only thought about the wormhole and forgot that you can set up teleportation arrays, Dachira said with a chuckle. Chapter D Section Z on iNet. After that, the two of them flew away and left the area. An hour later, the two of them arrived outside a city. After probing, Knight Sorrow looked at Dachira. We have a different image from them. Therefore we have to be more restrained. That's not difficult. Dachira's body shook and became shorter. The women from the Devil Blood world were petite while Dachira was tall and had fair skin. The difference was huge. She changed her body and then used death energy to change her skin. You. Knight Sorrow looked at her and was a little confused. It's for convenience. Once we go back, I'll change back, Dachira said. Yi Shang nodded and made his body stronger as well. Actually, our world's men and women are more harmonious. What is this now? Dachira was a little dissatisfied. Knight Sorrow pulled Dachira into the city and strolled around. After listening to other people's conversations, Knight Sorrow realized that the people of the Devil Blood world spoke the same language as the people of the Primal Chaos world. There were no tea houses in the city. However, there were many restaurants. Knight Sorrow and Dachira entered a restaurant and found a quiet corner. Knight Sorrow, they speak the same language as us. Back then, Xie Bing and Lai Bing were shouting in the same language as us, Dachira said. In the following month, Knight Sorrow and Dachira investigated the Devil Blood world. There were 3 worlds in the Devil Blood world. Each world had a different ruler. Xie Bing and Lai Bing were one of them. The other ruler was the Dragon Princess. The leader of the 3 worlds and the 3,000 worlds in the Devil Blood world was the Magic Dragon General. He was an Emperor-level cultivator and an evil dragon. When the Qing Emperor was injured by the Celestial Sex puppet, he was poisoned by the evil dragon's poison centipede. However, it was only a monarch-level evil dragon. The strongest person in the Devil Blood world was naturally the Magic Dragon General. The second strongest person was not the 2 half-step Emperor-level cultivators, but the Dragon Princess. Talent. The Dragon Princess was very talented. Because she had awakened her dragon bloodline, which was of a higher level than her father's, the Magic Dragon General's bloodline, she was very powerful. However, she only stayed in the water world, which was the world she ruled. She did not come out. The Magic Dragon General is very cruel. Lai Bing is a cultivator he subdued, and Xie Bing is his disciple. However, the 2 of them do not dare to go against him, Dachira said. Of course. He has killed his own disciples before. Therefore, even Xia Bing and Lai Bing, who are half-step emperor-level cultivators, have to obey him, Knight Sorrow said. The number of legions is about the same as ours. However, their actual combat power is not as good as ours. Their individual combat power is not bad, but their teamwork is average. The last battle proved this, Datura said. The key is how strong the Dragon Princess and the Magic Dragon General are. If the two of them cannot be restrained, then we have no chance of winning, Knight Sorrow said. War was not about one person. However, if they could not kill the strongest person of the other side, then it would be a big problem. Everyone in the Chaos world would have to bear the risk of being killed. What you said makes sense. Then let's go to the water world to play, Datura said to Knight Sorrow. What do you mean? Knight Sorrow did not understand. Lai Bing and Xia Bing know us, but the Dragon Princess does not. Let's go to the water world to check out the situation. Let's get in touch with the Dragon Princess first. If she does not see through us, then we will mix around and find out the true strength of the Magic Dragon General from her. If she sees through us, then we will kill her first, Datura said. At this moment, in the water world of the Devil Blood Realm, a woman in blue was sitting on a large chair in a luxurious palace. She was listening to the report of her subordinates. The woman's body was straight. Sitting there, she was like a sharp sword with a sharp aura. After listening to the report, the woman opened her closed eyes. 2 rays of light circled in her eyes. You said that Lai Bing's doppelganger was destroyed, and Lai Bing's original body was killed? Yes, Princess. This is the case. We have suffered a great defeat in this realm war. The man who reported the news bowed and said. Chapter 1497. It's like this. The opponent's strongest expert is a cultivator who has only cultivated for a short period of time. When he killed Lai Bing, he was at the Monarch Realm. When he killed Xia Bing, he was at the Heaven Monarch Realm. As for the details, this subordinate is not very clear. *T, said the man who bowed to report. He was the city lord of Blackwater City and Blackwater Domain, and also the general manager of Blackwater Domain. Hoo. Go and call Tianlan over for your majesty. Isn't he the commander of the Devil Blood Legion? He should be clear about the situation. The lady in the blue dress said. Yes. Hoo retreated and went to arrange the orders of the lady in blue. The lady in blue was very famous in the Devil Blood domain. She was the daughter of the Magic Dragon General and was at the peak of the Heaven Monarch realm. In fact, she was the strongest person in the Devil Blood domain after the Magic Dragon General. Hoo left the Blackwater domain and took the teleportation array to the Demon Blood world. The Devil Blood domain had 3 major world groups: the Demon Blood world, the Blackwater world, and the Blood Cloud world. Xia Bing was in charge of the Blood Cloud world group, the Blackwater world group was the Black Dragon Lady's territory, and the Demon Blood world had Lai Bing as the domain lord. The domain lord was just a title and the highest authority of a world. It was different from Knight Sorrow, who was the Lord of Origin. The highest authority of this domain was the Devil Blood General. Hoo arrived at the Demon Blood world and teleported to the Demon Sealing City where the Void Passage was located. He then went to the Legion camp where the Void Passage was located. Lai Bing and Xia Bing were recuperating in seclusion. It was the Devil Blood Legion's deputy commander, Shattered Moon, who received Hoo. Commander Hoo, you are here. Shattered Moon took out a jar of wine and poured a bowl for Hoo. The two of them had the same status. Shattered Moon's status in the Blood Cloud world was the same as Hoo's in the Blackwater world. It's like this. The princess has come out of seclusion and learned of the defeat of the realm war. She sent me to find General Tianlan and ask him to report the situation to the princess at the Blackwater Palace. Hoo explained the purpose of his visit. Tianlan still has a mission. If you can't do it, I'll go with your commander Hoo to report the situation to the princess, said Broken Moon. Hearing Hoo mention Tianlan, Shattered Moon's face changed. Originally, Tianlan shouldn't have been involved in refining the Berserker. After the Heavenly Evil Weapon made the decision, Tianlan said a few more words and angered the Heavenly Evil Weapon. Tianlan was added to the refining of the Berserker. If Tianlan resisted, he would be killed, so he could only accept his fate. However, Evil Soldier regretted it soon after. Tianlan was from the Blackwater Domain and had been a guard for the Blackwater Domain Lord. Later, he entered the army and was first a monarch in the Heaven Emanations army. Later, Evil Soldier was lacking in manpower. When the army was mobilized, Tianlan went to the Demon Blood army. After turning Tianlan into a berserker, Evil Soldier couldn't explain it to the Blackwater Domain Lord, which was the Black Dragon Lady. Evil Soldier planned to go to the Blackwater Domain personally to explain it to the Black Dragon Lady. As Evil Soldier's confidant, Broken Moon knew about this. Therefore, she had to take the blame for Evil Soldier. Mission? Hasn't the realm war already ended? If there's any mission, wait until he reports the situation to the princess. Where is he? Huhu didn't respond to Shattered Moon's words at all. He must complete the task that the Black Dragon Lady had entrusted to him. Sigh, I'll tell you the truth. You should think about how to deal with it. If it's not handled well, there might be a storm. Broken Moon couldn't hide the truth. Hearing Broken Moon's words, Huhu stood up. His face was full of anger. He and Tianlan were friends. After being fused with the Berserker Demon Stone, his body wasn't made of flesh and blood. It was a puppet with intelligence. It was very cruel. You just wait for the princess's anger. In the Demon Blood world, no one dares to treat the princess's people like this. Bring him here. Huhu didn't hold back and roared at Broken Moon. Broken Moon sighed. The situation was already very troublesome. If she stopped Huhu now, the Black Dragon Lady might kill her way over when he returned. Tianlan, who was wearing a blood-red armor, saw Huhu. His body trembled, but he couldn't make any expression because the muscles on his face were out of control. Huhu waved his hand and swept the wine bowl in front of him to one side. Tianlan, the princess wants to see you. Come back with me first. Tianlan looked at Broken Moon. In the absence of Evil Soldier and Lie Soldier, Broken Moon was the person in charge here. Go. The commander was a little impulsive this time, but it was also to stabilize the situation. Explain to the princess. If the princess is really angry, things will be very troublesome, Broken Moon said. Broken Moon said. He could only ask Tianlan to say a few words for Evil Soldier. He couldn't do anything else. Explain? Your blood cloud world is really something. Let's go. Huhu took Tianlan and left. Night Sorrow and Datura took the transmission array to Blackwater World. The two people they wanted to investigate were the Magic Dragon General and the Black Dragon Lady. Everything else didn't matter. With the secret of True Body, Night Sorrow and Datura's aura wasn't very strong, and they wouldn't be discovered by people with bad intentions. After arriving at Blackwater City, the two found an inn to stay in. Night Sorrow and Datura had already thought about their identity. Their current identity was a secluded cultivator from Blackwater World Group's high-level world, the Heavenly Wind World. Now that they had some achievements in their cultivation, they came out for a walk. This wasn't a random fabrication. Night Sorrow and Datura went to the Heavenly Wind World to make some false appearances. They even prepared a cultivation cave. At present, Night Sorrow had almost collected the map of Devil Blood World. He had the world map of the world in his hands, so there was no problem with the fabricated identity. Devil Blood World's cultivators had a violent character. They didn't drink tea and only drank wine. Night Sorrow and Datura also did as the Romans did and drank tea. Aluo, we are already being watched. Someone will probably find us later. We will follow the agreed plan and say that we are here to seek refuge from the Realm Lord, Night Sorrow said. Okay, don't worry. If we are discovered, we will directly fight with that dragon language and see how strong this Demon Blood World's #1 Lord of Heaven is. It would be best if we can kill him, Datura said. Yes, and also to see the Black Dragon General. If we can contend against him, we will fight to the death with him. After that, we will sneak attack the fierce soldiers and evil soldiers. Then we can start an all-out war with the army. Night Sorrow nodded. At this moment, in the Blackwater Palace, a woman was standing in front of the throne and bowing to the Black Dragon Princess, Long Yu, who was meditating with her eyes closed. Princess, our Blackwater City has produced 2 experts. They are both Heaven Monarchs, which has never appeared before. 2 Lords of Heaven that have never been seen before? Go and make contact with them and see where they are from. Dragon Language, who was dressed in blue, opened his eyes. Yes, this subordinate understands. The woman left. She was Dragon Language's right-hand subordinate and the commander of the Blackwater City's Imperial Guards. At this time, Huhu brought Tianlan into the Blackwater Palace. Only one F is authentic, the other F are pirated copies. Berserker, Tianlan, are you crazy? Dragon Language stood up from his seat. Speak. The second chapter has arrived. Thank you to Little Gao Fu and Boss P for unblocking yesterday's chapter. Also, the last week of the Battle of the Kings is also a crucial time. It will end soon. Shizi asks for help. Thank you. Tomorrow, I will give back to everyone and explode. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.